That's it. That's a whole show. We'll see you next week. No, welcome back to the Dynasty Grind. My name's Peter Howard at PA Howdy, a member of the DLF family of live streams, I guess. I don't know, recently purchased by someone with money, I guess. I don't know. But we're here to talk about Dynasty and Dynasty Take. So if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I'm joined tonight with Zach Reed from the Dynasty Dummies podcast of the DFPN Network, I think that's what it's called, and also Dynasty Outhouse, who is a co-host and occasional co-streamer, and he's here tonight. So if you have any questions for them, I have any questions in general, I'm going to let them handle them because I don't know. I have turned off most of the lights in my room because Dynasty Outhouse said I was too white, which I think he was talking about my lighting. I'm not sure. Either way, he's probably correct. But yeah, welcome back. It's the off season, officially postseason for the NFL, and yeah, we're talking about what we can do to our dynasty rosters. If you've got trade questions or anything else, feel free to let us know. And yeah, welcome in. Let's talk about some dynasty in the off season. Thanks very much. And yeah, I meant to have my hand on the button. I'm vamping now. This is what we call a vamp. Yo,
I missed that.
What's
music.
up? Me too, actually. Where are you at with rookies right now, Russ? I know Zach knows everything. He said now he knows everything about rookies now, and
well, I just found out that Zach put out an episode, so I'm an episode behind.
Okay.
I know very little. I talked to Kane Fassell a lot, and we don't really talk about the specifics of players, but I'm getting the hang of the idea that the first tier of players is probably about like 6-ish players deep and 3-ish players deep.
Yeah. 3, maybe 2.
It's not many.
But like in Superflex, even with quarterbacks, like they're good to land in spots.
I don't know about quarterback yet. But
Devy guys, I love Kane and I love Devy guys, but they get so enamored with these players for such a long time, and then they get heartbroken.
I am still waiting for Ray GQ to say something negative about a player. Like, I know he must have happened, but he's a player guy and he's a Devy guy and he's watched them all for 3 years. And I'm sure he doesn't like players more than others, but like, he's such a big fan. It's hard to spot the negativity.
He's just such a positive guy that he's just
I think
so excited and so happy to be talking about it.
And Zach's right. Kane is just so excited about college and like he wants to tell you all the good things. It's hard to spot the negative. That's why I exist.
And they're great. Like I love their analysis, but it does like it's almost like trying to point out flaws in your kids. It's like to other people, not to us backstage, but like to other people when you're like it's really
yep.
Hold on, I got this book written about this already. Let's get started. Peter, Nolan.
Peter, I heard you mention that DLF was bought. It was bought by BetSperts, which also bought Matthew Berry's Fantasy Life.
We are officially co-workers.
Yeah, so Matthew Berry is on ESPN. His Fantasy Life app was bought by BetSperts. BetSperts bought DLF. I wheedled my way into coming on the DLF live stream with you, which basically means this is my first time on ESPN. So I'd like to say hi to the national audience. It is nice here in Bristol.
I mean, you probably have the closest climate to Bristol, so
yeah, I mean, it is 9. It is 9 here today.
22.
So, no, in the same way that I was on the same podcast with Matthew Berry because I've talked to her name literally just jumped out of my head. Funniest person on Twitter. Cuda, thank you, Cuda Doodle. I've talked to Cuda Doodle, and Matthew Berry's been on Cuda Doodle's podcast. So technically, I have talked to Matthew Berry.
Yes.
Also, I met a man who met Stephen King once. So technically, basically, we're brothers.
You met Stephen King? That's so cool.
No, but basically, we're family now. That's how I understand the relationship. Yeah. Joe Herbert asks, Bills versus Chiefs, best quarterback game ever?
I mean, Brady versus Mahomes last year was pretty good quarterbacks.
They didn't play.
I've seen Manning and Brady. I mean, this is going to be fantastic. It is. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be
pretty good.
It's basically the Super Bowl. Like the AFC Championship is basically the Super Bowl this year.
I thought the last few games were just pretty much spectacular games.
Yeah.
Like sometimes
The entire last week was ridiculous.
Be happy with what you have. No, it's gonna be good.
No, but
Nicholas
speaking of being
J,
happy with
up,
what you
guys?
have, one of my good friends is a diehard 49ers fan. Hates Jimmy Garoppolo. So I keep giving him shit. I'm like, okay, you get to pick. Which one of these are you going to pick? San Francisco loses this week, or San Francisco wins the Super Bowl, restructures Jimmy Garoppolo's contract, and he's your quarterback for the next 3 years.
I just want to say they kick Nick Foles out the door just fine. Like I get the logic, but I think they can kick Jimmy out the door just fine. I mean, I would love for that to happen, but I honestly think the team does not care about Jimmy Garoppolo or any
at
player,
all. But it's just
because it's a team. They will happily move on if they're going to move on. Peyton Massey. Having said that, I don't think they will. I think Trey Lance is overrated. Peyton Massey, I said that and then moved on, so you can't count it. Hey guys, this is my first Dynasty offseason. I just want to say thank you all for giving content to help people like me. No problem, man. Thanks for chatting with us to help people like us.
Good part of the Dynasty season, man. This is my favorite. Setting lineups and scoring points is for suckers.
Yeah, I think we come in because we want to keep our rosters. Like, I build the best teams. Yeah. Like, I want to be a dynasty. And then we stay because we realize the off season's much more fun. Less stress, casual, you know.
It's literally the point in the year where you can dream for 6 months. Like your team can be anything. All of these incoming players can be anything. You can make all of these moves and you don't have to worry about setting lineups. You don't have to worry about it's the non-point scoring season, Russ. And it's so much fun because it's you can just you dream.
You can just feel your feelings, and you can't be wrong for like 3 months. It's wonderful.
Exactly. Salvatore, there is no wrong.
Salvatore, he says there are 7 elite players in this class, or 7 top tier.
Solid.
I guess.
7 solid. That's a very different.
Yeah, that's a very different thing. Yeah, I think there are. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I mean,
like, if we're talking like easy would be first round picks last year.
Running backs you're not sad about. There's going to be 2 wide receivers you're not sad about.
It really feels a lot like 2019 to me, where like the running backs that you're not sad about are like a second tier. Like if you get a David Montgomery out of this class, you're going to be real happy, and nobody's happy with David Montgomery.
Yeah, but we also are upset with David Montgomery based on what we thought he was going to be when he was drafted.
It depends on who you were.
I also think it's just going to be one of those hindsight. That's why I like 2015, 2019 comps for this class, because it's going to be one of the things we look back and say it was a great class because of that player, and everyone's just going to forget he was drafted after 3 other players.
Right. There's Deontay Johnson corollary. Yeah.
Spencer Smith actually donated money. I should probably get his name right. Don't know where that money goes. No word on that, by the way, Spencer, but we really do appreciate you trying to show support.
You're welcome, Betsperts.
Yeah. But yeah, feel free to give money. Some of it's got to turn up somewhere, but you don't have to. I really appreciate it, though, Spencer. So I traded Michael Pittman for a first for Deebo Samuels. Good job. I don't care about the rest of it. Deebo Samuels. He got Deebo Samuels. That's really okay. Right?
And a second, like even without the second there, that's a decent trade. Getting the second back is gold. I do like that a lot.
Yeah. Dynasty, would you say I won the trade? I would. I also say you would do it. You've done it fairly. Michael Pittman is a decent prospect. Had a great year this year. Definitely outperformed my expectation. And they got a first. So in Dynasty, I think you've done it fairly. You got the better of the deal, and the other team isn't screwed. I like that.
Yeah. And the great thing about that is a potential future trade partner too.
Yes, because of that. Yeah.
No, you're not going to hit the button and move on to the next one. You're just going to take your sip.
No, he gave us $5. Screw this. We're just going to talk to Spencer for the next 2 hours. Get used to it. Nicholas J, is there a reason nobody talks about Tyler Batty? I've been wondering the same thing.
I only want to talk about that guy. That's the greatest name ever.
It is also a good name, but yeah, I was surprised because I've gotten through the first 9 running backs or so, and Tyler Batty kind of stands out a little bit compared to some of the names I've heard.
Have you watched him yet, Zach?
I have not. He is on the list of players that we are going to. So we do the top 12 DLF players per position. So it'll be but they're not necessarily our top 12. And then the last show that we do, so we do 6 episodes. We do the 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 quarterback, tight end, because whatever. And then we do a run it back. Yeah. Who did we miss? Who do we want to talk about? Tyler Batty's on that list. Really, really good pass catcher. And so that intrigues me right off the bat.
That's your deal.
Yeah.
He made Larry Roundtree sit down in his second year. Like, he took the job, the lead scoring running back from the team. Larry Roundtree kept his relevance essentially because he had 66% of the touchdowns. I called it the Missouri Gators because I legitimately don't know what the name of the team is, but it's Missouri.
Okay, thank you.
And then I just called ... Gators.
Sure.
I guess
it sounds like that would be right.
It's a really funny joke in my notes. You'd love him. Yeah. I mean, no, he's actually really impressive. And when Larry left the team, he got this team seems to one guy scores 50 to 60% of the rushing touchdowns every time, every year. It's just a different guy. And that made Larry Roundtree look a little bit better, even though he did look like a decent prospect. But I think it also makes Batty look a little worse. And on a per team, Batty's significantly productive. He's really impressive.
It is so cool just to have a guy with the last name Batty. I can't get over it.
Right?
Well, I mean, you're talking, it's a player who had 1,600 yards and then 54 receptions. So he's a player that you're excited about. It's also with running back. I think you're probably, Nicholas, running into a little bit of the people talk about breakout age with wide receivers, and I think that bleeds into running backs. People think that old running backs, but when running backs don't break out the same way as wide receivers, and we see this in the NFL, where a wide receiver, if the wide receiver 1 goes down, and I talk about this, and it's a simplistic metaphor, but it's the one I've got, where it's like an escalator, where the bottom wide receiver goes up to the
and gets all those vacated targets.
But it's not vacated targets, but it's
been a while. I had to.
The way things move with wide receivers is more in an escalator, where you start at the bottom and then you move up to the next rung. Whereas a running back, can come in and be that guy, and you see that a lot in college football.
Sorry, Zach was giving very good analysis there. No, actually, it's something. Actually, I trying to create before we know much else. I was like, "What's the hit rates? And let's look at all the hits rate. Let's do an average." And the thing with before we really know too much about them, what you have is age, conference hit. So those are the hit rates. So I've got age-adjusted hit rates for draft round, pretending they're all drafted in the 3rd round. And technically, it's better to break out at 19 than 18 at running back. It doesn't work. It's not the same.
It's a funky position because you often have the guy ahead of you, and because there's only one running back, you're not usurping many of the touches unless you're. I mean, there are some teams that do it. Georgia is going to be the bane of our existence again, because they've got 2 guys who had 700 yards and about the same number of carries. And
I would say even that's not being able to take the job is still a thing. Like, Miles Sanders played behind Saquon Barkley, fine, but Miles Sanders also definitely isn't Saquon Barkley. So it does, it's relevant, sure. But it's not like, breakout age doesn't work because of the reasons you're stating. Right. At the 103 in rebuild, cool. 1 QB RBs are hard to come by, but I'm not competing. I got 9 firsts from now till 2024. Good.
Doesn't matter, man. You draft for talent, trade for need. Never fill spots in a draft. So if you're going to use the pick at the 103, you take the best player there. If it's a running back, if it's a wide receiver, in my opinion, just trade the freaking pick away.
The only thing I would say is don't Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns came into a team that was specifically executing a type of strategy to improve the team overall over successive years, and then we're like, no, we're just going to use all our picks. You've got the picks, so you constantly have dynasty value. So never be worried about moving picks out of this year for next year, because the whole idea is to keep hold of that value one way or the other. But outside of that, don't, like Dynasty Outhouse was saying, draft the best players. If you've got to draft players, don't worry about adjusting.
Yeah.
For position. Tim Lazenby. Bengals games are definitely the most fun to watch for me. Well, there's a lot to watch on that team right now, so that's pretty cool. Two great wide receivers, a running back of some description. I mean, he's all right. And a good
There's a quarterback, some wide receivers. There's a running back and a tight end.
Yeah,
I would say no love for CJ Uzoma, huh?
There definitely is. I'm a fan.
Can I take the top 3 running backs, or just go for the players you think are more likely to score points? Don't draft by position. I think that's what Outhouse was trying to say here. Bob Kilchrist, if John Bosch is the Bengals' #1 fan, so anything can happen.
Lifelong Bengals fan. Who day, baby?
I don't understand the if John Bosch is like. There's more to that question, or we need rephrasing. But yeah, John Bosch is like their biggest cheerleader.
Oh yeah, always, never stopped.
The Ocho Cinco fathead right behind him on the wall.
Yep. T. Higgins. It's T. Higgins now.
Oh, is it? I haven't potted with it.
Well, no, it's just it's 85, so we call it T. Higgins now.
Pad is on the small side. Baddie is on.
He's a small baddie.
And then I'm all in. Fuck it, let's go. I love it.
He's a small baddie. Baddie small.
He's mini me. I like him. Kid Coop, thinking Mixon's value is at an all-time high. In Dynasty, I imagine it's tanked again. It's the offseason as a running back, and we remember why top 12 running backs sometimes sucked. Although a year younger than Cook, he's played just as many seasons and not as good. Just traded him for Godwin plus a first. Yeah, this time of year, trading good running backs for wide receivers and draft capital is like a staple of how we keep ruining our teams. But good move. Tim Lazenby. Good work, kid.
Kid Coop.
Oh, nice. 12-team Superflex got offered CMC, Tyler Boyd. I like it. And someone called Knox. D Knox. So I assume he's got lots of T. 223 thirds. Who cares? For Kamara. Donald, Cedric Wilson. Oh, come on there.
So for Kamara.
Second. Yeah, for Kamara in a second.
Take CMC Boyd, Knox in the thirds for Kamara in a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
It's just like CMC Boyd for Kamara in a second. And yeah, take CMC side. The rookie draft season is a highlight of the Dynasty season. Just stop stealing our material, Joe, okay? David Shaheen. Hey, guys, love the show. Thanks very much, man. Thoughts on Tony Pollard? I was recently trying to rank him. I was trying to decide to move him up or down, so I just left him exactly where he was.
Exactly where he was, yeah.
I have enough to get him in exchange for Rondell. No, get Rondell Moore. Yeah.
Rondell Moore.
If that's the price for Rondell Moore, I'm in. I'm kind of waiting to see where the Dynasty landscape lands on him still. But half PPR starting line. Half PPR matters, but not too strongly in this position. I'd take Rondell Moore over Tony Pollard for sure.
Very easily.
It's funny because you're going to have a lot of people yelling at you because there is a very vocal Tony Pollard faction where every time there's an island game that involves the Cowboys, you see, Zeke have a roll off like a 6 or 7 yard run and like 15 people tweet out Pollard would have housed that. And it's just like there is a Tony Pollard.
Tony Pollard just looks so much faster. Yes, he is faster than Zeke. Yeah, that was never in question.
This is why it's almost better not to play. I'm like, I get the Tony Pollard thing. I think it's decent. I definitely think he can do what they expect him to do. But so can Alexander Madison. So change the name out. Rondell Moore for Alexander Madison, and you see the trade I'm seeing. It's not about the player.
Sorry.
Sorry. In a rebuild, do you build around QB or wide receiver?
And wide receiver.
Yeah.
Don't worry about RBs. I mean, depends on the draft, but largely that's kind of where my focus is. If it's super flex.
Yeah. In a one quarterback league, don't worry about quarterback either to the end.
At all.
Start with wide receivers. Yeah. Then I would say tight end, then quarterback, then running back. Running back, quarterback. Who cares?
In a one quarterback league, go get Jalen Hurts or go get whoever the undervalued quarterback is that runs that's going to put up a top. Or I mean, even somebody like Brady, although there are rumors that he's going to retire, but like that type of quarterback, as long as you're near the top 12, it doesn't matter in a one quarterback league. So yeah, I usually start with young, productive wide receivers, and then worry about filling in my running backs. And if it's a premium tight end would be fun. If it's not, I just had a really long tight end conversation this past week, and it's the same one I have every year for the last 7 years. And it's you either want one of the top 3 or 4 guys, or don't draft one for a long time and then take a shotgun approach to the athletic guys toward the end, because one of those players will end up. And I was going back. It was funny because I was in this conversation. I'm going back through my tweets, and so I searched my handle and Kittle, and I went back, and it was 2017. It was like George Kittle is right now the tight end, the 150th player off the board. Go get him. And then the next year, 2018, it was Mark Andrews is at 170. You should be picking him up, and you can kind of identify these players before they become.
Who should I go get this year?
I'll have to look.
Just don't tell everyone else. Just tell me.
I would say Albert O and Cole Kmet are pretty decent ads behind whoever you get to start this year. But I don't know who that starter is just yet. Maybe
it's a shotgun approach too, though. Like, it wasn't just George Kittle. It was a list of George Kittle at the top and then like 5 other tight ends. And that's how I play tight end. And the same thing with Andrews. It was Andrews, and it was a couple of guys that were in Indianapolis and down the list. And it's
you get one, you're going to be pretty comfortable starting week 1, and then you take a couple of young, decent shots around that 150, 170 range. And the most consistent thing about tight end is its consistency and the fact everyone wants to overthink it. We're terrible at tight end, even though it's the easiest position to play. So just, rely on everyone staying bad and do exactly what Zach's saying. We don't have to think about it too much because no one's willing to admit it's not wide receiver. No one. Should I give up on T. Higgins? Should I give up T. Higgins and the 104 for Jefferson?
Should I abstain? Because I want Justin Jefferson in this one.
I want Jefferson too. I know it's love T. Higgins week or whatever, but I like
forever. It's love T. Higgins 2 years. That's what it is. But no, that's not a bad price for Justin Jefferson. Not gonna lie,
that's really good.
So yeah, I would do that, and that's me. And I wouldn't feel great about it because I hate trading away T. Higgins. And chances are you're probably getting 70% production and the 104, and that's pretty good for trading away
it's good
Jefferson.
For both sides.
But also you get Justin Jefferson, you can do whatever the hell you want. Like, do you want to keep him? Awesome. Do you want to trade him for 3 awesome guys? You can get away with that too. So moving to Jefferson is also honestly a more fluid movement for trade purposes.
I would say if you're getting Jefferson to do something, you can probably get most of what you want with T. Higgins right now. It's not like you have to make a Jefferson trade to get what you want. People are pretty high on Jefferson and Higgins right now, so you can probably just make that trade outright. But this trade, take Jefferson. It sucks because it sucks to use players that are good that you have high ranked, but that's why Jefferson's higher ranked, Paid Nick Chubb in a first for a second and Jonathan Taylor. Too much? No. you completely killed that. I love Nick Chubb too.
Yes, unfortunately,
it's the same thing. You're getting a better player, and you're paying a good price for it.
And he's also younger painful. And scoring more. It's a good move.
Yeah. I don't believe they added that second for you, by the way. Like
Chubb a first and a second for Jonathan Taylor.
Oh, I thought the second was on Jonathan Taylor's side. Oh, that makes sense. And also still perfectly the same thing.
Those conjunctions and or different.
I just look for the and then I go either side.
I'll throw you a Schoolhouse Rock on YouTube once we get done with this show, Peter, and we'll learn you something.
Appreciate it.
The Queen's
it's going to be
English.
on the bill on Capitol Hill. It have nothing to do with this. He just wants to show you
it. Any word on the Bears coaching prospects and what you see for the future about Justin Fields?
Anything is better. Anything is better. It can't get worse for Justin Fields. That's all that matters. Justin Fields is very, very good. Allen Robinson, who did not want to be there, will be gone. They will bring in another wide receiver who will hopefully want to be there, and they will just get better. So everything is good for Justin Fields.
Can I ask you why? Because I've heard people say that. Why didn't Allen Robinson? Why do we think Allen Robinson didn't want to be there?
They tagged him, and he asked to leave, and they tagged him.
Okay.
That's really all it comes down to.
Oh,
He
that's
didn't like
it.
being
Okay.
there. He didn't like the front office. He wanted to leave, and they franchise tagged him. So he signed it and then just half-assed the entire season.
Yeah, he's like, I have a guaranteed contract, but I'm guaranteed I don't want to be here.
Spencer Smith. So I have Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts as my main 2 QBs.
Nice.
Should I hold on to Hurts? Yes. And see how he does in the next season?
Yep.
Yes. Or sell him right now? No. Based on past season.
Right now is not high. We're selling him right.
No one's buying his last season, and they should. So no.
Tomorrow. What day is today? Yes, I recorded it today. Tomorrow is the DLF trade show is dropping with me and Addison and me, because I don't need Schoolhouse Rock. It's me. We talk about Jalen Hurts, and it's really the episode is players I want, like players Russ wanted to talk about. That's the title of the show that's coming out, and Jalen Hurts is one of them. And it's purely because I'm terrified of Jalen Hurts in fantasy because I don't trust the Eagles to do the smart thing and start him next year. So I think, and we looked at a couple of trades that happened with Jalen Hurts from the DLF Trade Finder, and a lot of them have Hurts valued where it's just like not the top 10 quarterback he's playing like, in which case that it's baked into his value that we're not sure. So now is not selling high at Jalen Hurts. If you can get someone to give you top 6 or 7 QB price for Jalen Hurts, sell. That's fine. But if you're looking QB 10 to
what is that price?
I want an early and a mid. And honestly, me personally, I won't even give an early for him right now because I don't feel safe about it.
I like Jalen Hurts in Dynasty right now for everything Russ just said.
It's
like
absolutely
all upside.
Jalen Hurts is absolutely the smart and the right thing. I will absolutely admit that. I also have a lot of anxiety issues. So you're not going to get me to trust an NFL GM to make the smart move, even on a good day.
I'm confirmed moron, so I also don't think it's a smart thing, but it's definitely what I'm doing.
Dude, ignorance is bliss, man. Just like be happy about it.
I'm living proof. Never been happier. Stupid as stupid things. See? Yeah.
I'd rather be happy than right any day. Well, are you happy? Oh, no.
Mizzou Tigers, by the way. You had to look it up. See,
I like the Fighting Hornets or whatever you put in there.
The Fighting Hornets. That's who they are now.
Just someone let them know that's what they're called now. Josh bought Elijah Mitchell back. Just bought Elijah Mitchell back for the 111 and Chris Carson.
Perfect.
Sure. Yeah.
I like that.
Whoa, keep reading.
Oh, I have an offer for Mitchell for the 105. Yeah, probably.
I am not as high on Elijah Mitchell as everyone else seems to be. That's where I'm at
right now. That's where
because I talk with John Bosch, Kane Fassell, Addison Hayes, and they're all very into Elijah Mitchell. To me, Mitchell's
right?
They're like Mitchell to me is worth the 111, and well, maybe not Chris Carson. Give me a running back I think will play again, and I'll feel better about it. But like the idea that I can get the 105 for Mitchell is just like, okay, yes, and then I'll probably trade the 105 for a lesser pick and a running back I like more.
Not Chris Carson, yeah.
Not Chris Carson. Neck fusion surgery, man. Like, he has to turn his head to not get hit. I mean,
not a big fan of Justin Ross. Got it.
No, he had the opposite. He had the fusion that had to be.
I'm not going to remember. Yeah, I feel Elijah Mitchell, like I had to go to bat for James Robinson last offseason after having a top 12 season and having all the positive signals in the world. No one wanted to pay these prices for him. Elijah Mitchell, everyone wants to pay for it, and he didn't like there's problems. So I don't know. I want to like him like I like James Robinson. Instead, everyone likes him like I like James Robinson, if you know what I mean. So I don't know what to do. I don't know what to tell you. I like him a lot. His price right now is good to trade.
If you're thinking of keeping the 105 and making that pick, I would hang on to Mitchell.
That makes sense.
If you are like Russ and you're getting that 105 to turn around on the clock and move it because you can get more value at that point in time, that's a great move.
Yeah.
But I value Elijah Mitchell at least as highly as the 105, and I think that you have some you've seen what he can do. You've seen that the 49ers are at least interested in starting the season with Elijah Mitchell as their starting running back.
A lot of time between now
I think
and
that
starting the season.
part. No, I think that part. There's no question about. I think you've seen,
and it's also really easy to accept that as long as he's healthy, they're going to keep doing that. Everyone thinks it's uncertain. It's not. As long as they're healthy, they keep running with their guy. They go to the next guy when he gets hurt. That's it.
They have three running backs on contracts right now: Elijah Mitchell, Trey Sermon, and JaMychal Hasty.
Right.
So they need to bring more in.
Yeah, but you don't need to bring. But if
you don't need,
no, you're about to say you don't need to bring in someone expensive or an early draft pick. Elijah Mitchell was a 6th, and all of a sudden we're going to matter.
But it doesn't matter.
That matters.
But not everyone's Elijah Mitchell.
Stop holding stop holding on to the draft capital now that you've seen him first. It's the same the James Robinson thing. Like
no, I'm not.
It matters.
That draft capital doesn't matter to the new guy coming in.
Well, no, and that's fine, but also it like. I do believe that they're going to start with Elijah Mitchell as the and I'm not as high on Elijah Mitchell as everybody else is. Like Peter and I have talked about this the last couple of weeks, and we're far closer to tepid than a lot of the dynasty community that you're hearing talk about him. But I also think that this class, I have watched the best players in this class, and they are not the best players. They are not like this is another 2019 where like you're watching guys and you're going, there is not somebody who can be in the top 6 running backs. There are barely guys who can be in the top 12 running backs. There is not somebody who's going to come in and be a tremendous wide receiver. There may be one, like I like Burks quite a bit, but there's just not that obvious.
You seem to be more into, I think it was Breece Hall, right? When you first watched him.
No, well, like I'm into Breece Hall in terms of this class, but in terms of like he is about where I had David Montgomery. Like I can go back and tell you that
I the way you were talking about him, it was okay. No, I definitely was misconstruing because you know I would say there's 3 running backs and you would just go like.
Yeah, there's one.
It wasn't that you were talking about him being up there. It's just that he's above those bad guys.
It's just not. Yeah,
he's above baddie.
It's not. So the peak of this class is just not what we've been used to for 2020 and 2021 or 2018, 2017. Like we've been spoiled.
Wow, we had a lot of really good years.
We have been spoiled. I mean, we had a class with McCaffrey and Dalvin Cook and Leonard Fournette and Joe Mixon.
Corey
then
Davis.
We had the next class that had Saquon and Chubb. And like we have had and wide receivers. We've had great. We've had AJ Brown and we've had Justin Jefferson. We had Jamar Chase, like back to back classes. Like we've had. And CeeDee Lamb, I know he's the flavor of the week to bash, but like CeeDee Lamb's actually a very good wide receiver. Like
that's so weird that people are against him.
We've they don't like the 19% target share. I mean that's it's math.
Average for the last 2 years. Yeah. When there's this much discussion to be had about a running back or anyone, and you know you like to play, just make a stupid rule that puts you on the good side of making a safe decision more than 50% of the time. Or to put it simply, it's a running back in January. If he has value, you should be okay getting that value back. Trade him if you can get value, and you know trade a first for him before the season starts if you need to. Like I just play it simple. Like I like Elijah Mitchell. There's a lot of variation in his value. There's all this conversation, which I nodded off a little bit, and because there was a lot of football talk in there. And so, yeah, I will trade Elijah Mitchell because he's a running back that has value in January, and it's just safer to have the value than the running back for the next 3 months. So that's kind of where I'll go with most decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully that helps out. Bob, I'm skipping you. May never come back. Nicholas J.
No, hold on. I was scrolling through my photos, and I found the pictures I made for the vacation targets, and I cracked up, and I could not explain why it was funny to my wife.
I've seen all the 200-yard games Batty had. Someone compared that stat to Jonathan Taylor, where they both had 5 or more 200-yard games or something like that. Yeah, interesting stat, not a useful stat.
No, I don't think a 5'8", 194-pound running back is going to compare favorably to Jonathan Taylor. I mean, like again, I just going to go out on a limb.
He's not a math guy though, so
yeah.
Could be
Not a
wrong.
numbers guy.
TJ Gamer, I got an offer offered to me. I get Jefferson and give up T Higgins in the 104 and the 2020.
and
Oh,
the
that's
23.
two
No,
first.
keep T Higgins with that.
Yes.
That's a little heavy.
Didn't we just talk about this without the 23 first?
Yeah,
Almost the exact
from
same
somebody
trade.
else, but it was
But the first is a second in the other one.
Yeah.
No, no.
But the other one, I was on the Jefferson side. This one with TJ,
The extra first is far too much.
Definitely T Higgins with that 104. If this is a super flex, you are in the neighborhood of potentially getting either Traylon Burks or Breece Hall, Isaiah Spiller, Kenneth Walker, like whatever your flavor is there. Plus, you get a 23 first on top of that, and you're not losing much for production by getting T Higgins. Like
I mean, he's not Kyle Pitts and you're John Bosch, so give up.
But
I would
also,
think of it this way.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I see the comments pretty regularly this offseason of good Dynasty players saying, I got 3 firsts, I had to trade him. 3 firsts is kind of a line. If you're getting 3 firsts for a player, there's very few players in Dynasty that you wouldn't trade that for. 4, maybe. Barkley hit 4 once, but there's very few players that are not tradable at that level. Is T. Higgins worth a single first? If so, maybe redress your thing. He's worth more than that, so you're giving up like the max price anyone would ever pay for a player, and there's just no reason to. I love Jefferson, but there's just no reason to. So that's the way it converted in my head.
He says, I already have Jamar Chase. There's a couple of offenses you just don't care about having both of the receivers.
Yeah.
And you talk about Jefferson, it's like you were never sad to have Jefferson and Thielen. You will not be sad about having Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
And I think that gets overblown sometimes.
Trade Chase for Jefferson and get something back.
Good players.
Good
like I want good players on my team. Like that's it. Period. Good players.
Yeah. And on good offenses, then that's a good offense.
You know less about where they're going to end up next year than anyone will ever fucking admit to you. But we do know all these players that you just listed are definitely players you want on your team, and you want as many of them as possible. But you don't want to lose those first. So just keep the 2 you've had, and keep the first as well. It's not. I felt like I had the end of the sentence, and it just disappeared. So, sorry.
I thought you froze. I don't know.
I did, just completely froze up, but in real life, not on the internet. Jeremy, I just watched film on Damian Pierce. He looks really good. Zach has words for you.
Yeah, do you want to know a little bit about Damian Pierce? I just watched Damian Pierce too. He has the best vision in the class, but does not have the commensurate athleticism to do much with it. He is the type of player that if you need 4 yards, he will get you 4 yards. But if you need 8 yards, Damian Pierce is going to get you 4 yards. Like that's just kind of what he does. Like I said, almost exceptional vision. He does a really good job pressing the line to set up blocks. And what I mean by that is he will attack vertically to make the defense commit. And once the defense commits and he figures out which side of his blockers the defense is on, he makes a cut to get to the other side. The problem is Pierce doesn't really have long speed, so he doesn't get to the outside. He doesn't have big chunk runs. Athletically, he's underwhelming. He's not fast. He's not particularly strong. And for my money, I don't think he has the ability to create in space either. So once he gets through that hole, he's not avoiding any defenders, and so his runs end before he gets into the second level. So, like, I see what you're seeing. I like his vision, but all of the other things that go along with that are just not quite there for me with Pierce.
Yeah, no, it doesn't get close to interesting for me.
No.
These on the stats I'm using, but the ones that won't make you think, oh, fuck this guy. So here you go. He's played 4 years, 4 games, never caught 20 receptions. I had 600 receiving yards. Next.
It's a lot like the baby P. Ryan that was at Florida, and like this is actually the Gators, Peter.
LaMichael.
This is Florida. Yeah, LaMichael. Like it's that same.
I refuse to admit that. And that they're not called
that same idea where like he looked good. He'll probably be fine in the NFL, but I don't think he's going to be somebody for fantasy that we're going to be interested in.
CD Lamb for Elijah Moore on the first. CD Lamb. Also, Elijah Moore is being undervalued. They're asking you to price him where he should be valued. So, like, screw that guy. He's going to get one over on you a little bit. And unfortunately, that probably means Elijah Moore isn't available in your league for what we would want to trade him for. But yeah, CD Lamb all day.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, unless you're on Twitter right now, and then that's probably more by by the 23.
No.
Like, it's
actually
so
great time to be on Twitter if you can learn to use it. Like 2 weeks ago, the way you felt about AJ Brown, right? And then he has his first game back, and now he's back in the top 4 for everyone else. Right now, CD Lamb should be in there for everyone, and he's just in there for us. Take the opportunity; it will come back around.
This is the micro market thing where like everyone goes one way and overcorrects, and then they come back to sanity before they go back the other way. And this is CD Lamb, not necessarily this trade. This is close-ish. It's still the Lamb side, but it's not egregious. Like this isn't one that I would just like, shut my phone and not respond to.
Because I do love Elijah Moore. I was just gonna say, like, it's close enough that if my team needs more value, if it sucks, I need to do a lot with it. I'm interested in that first.
I will just say, in October, I think it was, I traded Mike Evans for Elijah Moore in a 23 first. Like that's not much has changed for Elijah Moore's value because he got hurt and had COVID. But anyway, CD Lamb's value hasn't dropped that much. So I feel like that just shows that this should easily be CD Lamb. But I do like Elijah Moore in 23 firsts.
Yeah, I like Mike Evans, to be honest. These are guys that are
always
underpriced, but you don't. I wouldn't personally trade CD Lamb, who I do expect and think is undervalued and will come back up without gains fairly soon. Like you can get those guys without trading low on a guy I'm pretty sure confident's going to bounce back up. But that's me. Chandler Russell. He's talking to TJ Gamer. I'd decline that. Yeah, I think we would do. Higgins is top 15. Oh, Dynasty wide receiver moving to first for Higgins. Yeah, it's like the max value you should ever play for a player when you really don't need to. Oh, Tim disagrees with us on the Elijah Moore trade. He would take the Elijah Moore side. I could see it in certain situations, but personally, I'd just take Chandler Russell, bro, that CMC trade is a smash accept, bro. What?
Bro.
Honestly, that's the literal sentence that turned up in my head when I saw it. So I'm on the same wave.
But just a January DLF ADP, T. Higgins, wide receiver 11.
Yeah, no, he's going to enter the top 12 people.
See, I would have thrown in a dude, but
bro.
Yeah, but you're cooler than me. That's the thing. Nicholas J was thinking of trading for Claypool since I was interested. Hang on, let me finish it. Sent him a second, not sure if he has seen my trade yet, but he didn't accept or deny it. Is it worth a second? Yes, he's worth a second. I don't think we're going to be getting him for that price. I expected to be interested in Claypool this offseason, and then I was informed BMI Twitter didn't die. And unfortunately, that means he's probably going to be held over that value. But for a second, I'd trade for him.
Yeah, easily. You probably won't get him for a second though, because everyone is on the train that when they get a real quarterback, he'll be fine.
Yeah, appreciate it, Rockley. TGM, think it would be different. They were talking to each other while we were taking time talking about a running back earlier. I think Rondell Moore or Claypool, my 2 trade targets. I'm not sure about. Yeah, same wavelength. I prefer Moore over Claypool, but. Same thing. I need to know what the price is for those guys.
I think Claypool is worth more than Moore, in which case I'd go get more.
Well, no, he means valued by the community, and I think he's right. I think Claypool is valued by the community. Is that what you're saying? Like worth?
Yes,
more?
100%. Yeah. Chase Claypool, wide receiver, 24. Hold on, let me scroll to find Rondell Moore.
Yeah, I'm practicing finding my inner peace because I think this is going to happen to me with Rondell Moore a lot this offseason, and I need to be able to center myself when people say stuff like that.
Well, but he's not.
When people when people say facts,
he's not
they say
saying that he got
Peter.
Peter, you gotta focus on us. He's not saying that Rondell Moore is not as good as Chase Claypool. He's saying that the community, the hive mind,
I know,
the brain.
I know. I'm taking the opportunity to practice. Just
good. Always.
Junction. Oh, sorry.
No, I like Rondell Moore a lot. The significance concerns,
Yes.
and Claypool's done better in the NFL so far. So yeah,
I would go get Rondell Moore because you can get him easier. In which case, that's why you do that.
Yeah. Evan. I don't know why I called you Evan. Sorry, Evan. Evans. 10-team Superflex PPR. Start 2 tight ends. Interesting. See, this is why I'm known as a nice guy. Trying to get Pitts for either Hawkinson.
No, you are not getting Pitts in the trade for start 2 tight end league. Just stop the question. You are not getting Pitts in the start 2 tight end. First of all, end that league because start 2 tight end leagues are terrible. Seriously, like it's.
I care about your fantasy.
Play what makes you happy. Seriously. League shaming is awful. You want to play in an 8-team league, that's fine. You want kickers and defense, that's fine. IDP is gross, but if that's what you want, 2 tight ends is dumb and you shouldn't play it. It's wrong.
Okay,
I won't shame you, but you're wrong.
There aren't
that one thing. It's just it misses the point.
There aren't 20 tight ends.
Quarterbacks because there are so many good scoring quarterbacks. It doesn't make sense to leave them on the bench.
No, that's not why you start 2 quarterbacks. You start 2 quarterbacks to artificially inflate the value and make yourself feel better about quarterbacks. There are not 20 good quarterbacks either, but people like to start.
No,
like,
there's
that's
like
16. Fine. But I agree.
I didn't
with
say
you.
there was 20. I said there's like 16.
I agree with you that there are definitely not 20 tight ends. There are barely 10.
Exactly. Like
actually, there are barely 5
tight end leagues. It's absolutely bad process. But okay, so let's actually read the question. Sorry.
Trying to get Pitts for Hawkinson and the 110 for this year, or Fields and Muth. Freiermuth. Okay, yeah, do that.
Dude, just hold on to Fields and Freiermuth. There's no.
I don't think you're getting Fields and Freiermuth. Like these, it's a super flex. You shouldn't get Fields and Muth. For like, what were you trying to like? Hawkinson
in a start 2 tight ends, even in a super flex league, Pitts is going to be a first round pick.
The real move, and Russ, put your earmuffs on, is go try to get Darren Waller because he's going to be the undervalued tight end that can be one of those top 5 tight ends.
Except he's already lost his targets to hashtag small team Clemson small wide receiver.
He hasn't, but he'll.
Yeah, they said they were going to let me finish the question so we could actually talk to you, Evan. But every time Pitt's names come up, this is going to happen. So let me try and mute them for a second and actually say what you're asking, which is you want to get Pitts and you're trying to trade Hawkinson and a first, or you're trying to get Fields and Muth. One thing I'd say is you're going to have to pick one. There's a lot of value flying around there. And like I said, the Fields and Muth side seems a lot heavier to me in terms of overall value in a super flex. Pitt's team is QB needy, you say, and both deals are solid. I'm not so sure about that statement. Maybe they'll have thoughts on that when they get over the fact we're talking about Kyle Pitts. You have Mahomes, Dak, and Tannehill, those, and Tua. I don't think you need to be hunting quarterback. But the thing is about Pitts, I mean, you've got 2 of the best minds, and I joke around with them a lot, but both are actually much better dynasty players than your average. They know their stuff. I'm muting them because I have the power.
Those are 2. The Fields is another side of.
I really shouldn't have the power to mute them. These guys know what they're talking about. And Pitts is going to be one of these players. He's worth so much more. And if he's not in your league, it's worth searching for him. But
no, he said Fields and Freiermuth for Pitts is another offer he sent. He's not going after Fields.
Yep.
Change the question already. Look, Zach's not even looking anymore. He's done.
No, I've destroyed Zach. Yeah, man. I think you're a little off on what Pitt's value is in most leagues. If he's not in yours, that might be different, but Pitt should be higher value than that. Chandler Russell, you could, and I think that'd be value neutral. See, I insist John Bosch and Bob Gilchrist are in our heads about what he should be valued at. I think most people are like, what is a tight end? I don't think Pitt's value for most people is translating from our little Dynasty world. I think Zach might have actually gone.
He's asleep. He fell asleep in his chair.
Oh, no, sorry. Nicholas J. No, Joe Herbert. When the initial sugar rush wears off, what is the reality for Gabe Davis going to be? He's going to be valued as a second-round pick, and you should trade for him at that value. But right now, some people instant reactions are getting first. I think that's well over that's just kind of taking advantage of your league mates' emotions during the playoffs. But sure, you can.
Peter, do you think Gabe Davis can be a top 20 wide receiver?
Could be, yes.
I don't. It's weird to think that.
I don't think he will be. I think the chances against it, it's a relatively small.
It's like what you were saying before about running backs. Like they still weren't able to beat the players in front of. He has to wait for Manny Sanders and Cole Beasley to be out. Like that's rough to say out loud. Like, yeah, we just saw him have 200 yards and like 16 touchdowns in one game, but still, it's only because Manny Sanders retired and Cole Beasley is Cole Beasley like now, not Cole Beasley a year ago. So it's just like he had to wait for them to sort of step out of the way to be able to do this. So chances are it's not going to be sustainable. So I
found some semblance of middle ground with Gabe Davis, truth is to point out that if we're actually doing statistically or, historically, he compares well at this point in his career to both Jacoby Myers and McCall Hardman. And both are very clearly NFL level players. They're good players, even if they play very differently and do slightly different roles. And they can succeed in the NFL and have a much bigger role next year, like Jacoby Myers and McCall Hardman did this year, without being top 20 dynasty wide receivers. Like that, it's a different conversation.
Yes, that is yes.
But I mean, he could be because these are NFL players. They can do amazing things. We just saw him get 200 yards. I think the chance of him doing that consistently for making it in terms of a fantasy ranking is smaller than a second round pick.
Yeah, I agree.
Mid-30s. If you're dynasty ranking wide receivers, he's probably wide receiver 32 to 38, something like that.
I feel like I took the energy out of the room by muting you, and I regret it. I regret it.
Wide receiver 50 in January, which was clearly before, last week. Wide receiver 50.
Yeah, I think people are looking at the fact that he could end up being the second. I mean, Emmanuel Sanders isn't coming back. People hate on Cole Beasley because he looks like Peter. And that I think is what people are looking at is, hey, Gabe Davis could be the wide receiver 2 in Buffalo in a good offense. He probably isn't. He's probably the wide receiver 3. He's probably still touchdown dependent. But
and that's still on games where Knox doesn't get those.
Yeah, and like I don't mind people being excited about Gabe Davis, but like let's temper expectations. I mean, it was the same thing. No, it was a similar thing with Amon-Ra St. Brown, where most of his production, a lot of his production came from touchdowns. I mean, he had 6 touchdowns in the last 5 games. That is not sustainable. Is he a good player? Oh, sure. Is he 6 touchdowns in 5 games? No, that doesn't happen.
Getting 12 targets is a little different, but yes. Yeah, I'm just going to say it. Yeah, I think I said what I was going to say. I got Kyler Murray and Justin Fields in a 1 QB. Tight end is Waller. Wide receiver is Deontay Johnson. Christian Kirk. That's it, really. I feel you, man. Running back is Chubb. Trade him. Rest of my team is young bums. Hoping Kyler is still elite in 3 years. Yes, you are.
And trade Chubb for better wide receivers.
See if you can trade Fields too. If somebody's, I mean, like I don't know if you can. 1 quarterback leagues are weird like that. Mm-hmm. If you can, fine. See if you can get Gabe Davis for him.
I mean,
what's up?
Yeah.
Moving on. Tim, speaking of Cole Kmet, why is no one talking about him? I know, Dynasty players are weird, man. Didn't realize he's only 22. What a stud. Yeah, this is actually an important year for both him and Albert O. That's why I mentioned them. It's a pretty common breakout year. It's the last very common breakout year. And both have had, for a tight end, pretty decent roles behind other more experienced and proven players in the NFL. So I think they've both done interesting. They could also be David Njoku, but we've never had to, trade for him at that value. So I think they're interesting that way.
Well, the problem was that the corpse of Jimmy Graham was still catching passes ahead of Dawson, of Cole Kmet. That's the big problem. But again, we don't know what this offense is going to look like next year. So you have to hope they implement it for the players they have, in which case they gear it towards Cole Kmet, not Jimmy Graham.
Jay.
Oh God, yeah.
Jay.
Oh God, yes.
Aaron Jones and Tony Pollard. Yes.
I hope you accepted that while we were not answering this question. Yes.
Yeah. Take T. Run.
Richard Davis, Lawrence or Hurts? Good
Lawrence.
question. Hurts.
Lawrence.
Yeah, that's where that line's going to divide on whether you're too unsure.
Here, watch me sit on the fence. It depends on your team. If you are competitive right now, it's Hurts by quite a bit, because I think Hurts is going to again be a top 10 quarterback.
Yeah.
I do believe that with the coaching change, and they're talking now about Byron Leftwich coming in.
I'm
There's
excited about that.
some familiarity with that locker room. Like, that could be a very nice thing for Lawrence, but it won't be next year. It's going to be a couple of years before Jacksonville has righted the ship, and Lawrence. I fully expect Lawrence to be a good quarterback in the NFL and a good fantasy football quarterback. But if your team is competitive right now, Hurts, no question.
Lurks.
Yeah, that's every possible answer, by the way. So I'll slide along more to Zach's side. Like, I want Hurts. I do, because you're basically trading an undervalued player for an undervalued player. And in that situation, I'm like, just give me the production. Either way, you're kind of getting ripped and ripping. So there's no real advantage. So just take the production. Justin Fields is not good, liar. Okay. I traded Hurts for Lawrence, with my QBs being Dak, Lance, and now Lawrence. Cool. Trade Lance
Nice
as well.
QB, right?
Yeah. Trade Lance. Aaron A, there is no data to say the Fields will be good other than the fantasy community who fails to look at data.
Yeah, look at data.
Peter, how many
Famously.
spreadsheets do you have open right now?
I'm baffled. Yeah, I don't know. What could I say to Andrew? One, I don't do a lot of quarterback profiling because quarterbacks don't have clear patterns and trends. So any data you look at, I'm going to challenge on the basis that it doesn't have good trends, which means essentially just looking at numbers and picking the ones that are closer to your feelings, especially for a rookie year at quarterback. And also, yeah, his first year was not good. But the whole point is with quarterbacks that you have to read into situation and the actual skill set and talents and how they're performing on the field so much that data is somewhat incapable to help, which is, why it's a murky situation. TJ Gamer, yeah, I'm going to counter and do T. Higgins in the 104 instead of Jefferson in the 2 first. Yeah.
Yeah, Higgins in the 104 for Jefferson. Right. That's what we were talking about before. Yeah. Yes.
Richard Davis, thoughts on what to sell Allen Robinson for if he gets traded to a good team, or is he a hold, even if it goes somewhere good? Chargers, Chiefs. I don't do that speculation. I'm a little washed on Allen Robinson. Normally I'm on team undervalued, old aging wide receiver who's shown he is good. But I mean, it's not just this year that people have a ready excuse for. He didn't want to be there. We've seen this for multiple years. I don't think he's gotten worse, but the trend from this point in is for him to keep underperforming those high expectations we've had at him. But at a certain value, I'll always take a shot on the Allen Robinsons of the world. Like, if he's trading for what Odell Beckham was before he went to the Rams, then I think he's interesting.
He's worth a late second right now, so there's no reason to sell him. Yeah. If you hold, and it's funny, Addison was being a jerk about it, talking about Allen Robinson going to the Chargers because It's like the one instance I wouldn't be upset about Mike Williams leaving is if they replace him with Allen Robinson. So
Yeah, Addison is a jerk. Let's just
a
talk
little bit of
about
a
that
jerk.
for
Absolutely,
a little
yes.
while. A little bit of a jerk.
But yeah, no. If someone like Allen Robinson with his value as low as it is now, wait until there's positive news to try. If you want to get rid of him, wait until free agency happens and you see how many teams are talking to him, and then you can just throw him out and hope to get an early second instead of a late one. Not going to get a first for him, no matter where he signs.
And there will be. That's the upside. There'll be positive news. Like you say, he's either gonna stay with the Chicago, I guess, or move to another team. And there's always the chance that is a positive signal to someone in your league. Oh, he's with a better team, or he's with a different team. So there will be positive news and a better time to sell him, or trade him, even if it's similar.
See if you can get Rondell Moore for him.
Yes, he has. Yeah, actually, not bad.
I wonder if you can.
They're back to back in DLF ADP. They're literally back to back. Wide receiver 39, wide receiver 40.
That's why I'm kind of waiting on Moore. Usually, I'm waiting for the season hangover to finish. I don't know where we're actually at on Moore, but if that's where we're at, go get Rondell Moore. Mitchell is this substance. Yeah, he's not though, Bob. He's valued where I was saying he should be valued last offseason. Like no one wanted James Robinson for the 105 last offseason, except me, and it didn't work out. I know. Just stop reminding me of that. But Mitchell is being held there rightly, and it cannot work out. So yeah.
It absolutely worked out though with Robinson because you could get Robinson before the season, and like I did a dummies episode where I talked about going, and I did this on a couple of teams where I got Robinson for seconds, because Travis Etienne was going to come in and be the second coming, and then I specifically said, look, I think Etienne's great in space. I think Robinson probably takes the carries between the tackles. And if he gets injured, then all of a sudden you've got a chance to have a running back one. And
you if did that's what Mitchell was, I'd be
but you're not getting Mitchell for a second. No, you're not getting Mitchell for a second. Mitchell is going for at least a first. And so that makes you assume the risk on Mitchell as opposed to the other way around where the risk was all – I mean, there was no risk on James Robinson for a second.
In January on a running back. Nah, it's not me. Dude on top rate is nothing but buzzwords. We've moved around a lot. I'm going to take that responsibility with myself. And, yeah, it's well known. I talk mostly in slang and slogans. David Shaheen, 12-team Superflex PPR. Would you rather have Deontay Johnson, the 2023 second, or Brandon Ayuk and a 2023 first? Ooh. I think I'd take Deontay in the second. Yeah. I have him in the top 12 for me right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And we talked Deontay Johnson last week. Like, I think that you've seen him be a slot receiver and you've seen him get a ton of targets close. He can also go down the field, which is going to be fun either way, depending on who they end up with a quarterback. He's either going to be a down the field, go get it, or stay in the slot. Doesn't matter. He's good.
Yeah. 12-team Superflex PPR. Would you rather have Dion? We're in the same thing. Richard Davis. Team is Dak, Swift, Singletary, Lamb, Chase, Debo, Pitts, Allen Robinson, Sanders, Lance, Lawrence, Rojo, Faramuth as of now. Who should I be looking to trade for? Like, I didn't need the team. Overall, I just need to know whether you're looking to build or not. But thanks for the extra information. It looks to me like team's pretty stocked with Chase, Lamb, and Debo. So I would sit tight. Look to add value where you can. Faramuth's a great tight end. You might need a Hunter Henry type. He's a more secure starter week one, but you don't have to make those kind of moves.
He's got Pitts too.
He's got Swift. Yeah, he's good.
He's got Swift. And I mean, let's face it, like Singletary was really, really good at the end of the season. Assuming they don't make any big splashes, because I mean, Singletary did well, and Zach Moss isn't. I mean, he's still on a cheap contract, so they probably won't pay someone to come in. That I think
the teams.
Go ahead.
No, I had nothing. I was just talking.
Okay. So yeah, no, I think Singletary hold. I don't think you need to do anything right now. If you felt like you wanted to trade someone away, if you can get someone who likes Miles Sanders right now, because he had a pretty decent end of the season, if you can get an early second for Miles Sanders, I would do it right now.
I would say you've got enough great pieces on this team that, if anything, I'm speculating on players I think of as undervalued. So Devontae Smith, Elijah Moore, two players I would mention as young wide receivers. If you can actually, you said you're concerned about your depth, and I really wouldn't be in right now at all.
In January,
instead,
there's no such thing.
I'm trying to roll up some of that depth. Singletary is really hot right now because he's doing well and he's on a good team and he's a decent running back. If I can add like a second to him and go grab one of these younger valued tight ends or wide receivers that I like, but that's mostly what I'd be interested with your team because you're pretty solid all around, better than solid. So, or you've got no first. Yeah, I'd seek out some draft capital for the future because you've got a nice young team now. So let's make sure there's some security with adding draft capital later. Yeah, add some of that Singletary, A-Rob depth. Try and get some draft.
Gotta be honest, in a 10-team league, you might want to still roll up. Like, I mean, I don't feel great about starting Singletary because assuming you have to, in a 10-team league, I'm guessing you have to start 2 running backs, but if you don't, then just worry about Swift and nothing else. But again, we're not worried about starting anyway. Like, I would take everything you can now, get rid of that depth. I would Allen Robinson and someone else, pile that in, Allen Robinson and Singletary, and go and like get the people Peter was talking about a second ago. Go trade them up into something that's more valuable that you could later in the non-point scoring season trade it for someone that will help your team in 6-7 months when it actually matters.
Did we establish that this was a 10-team league?
It says right there, 10-team Superflex.
Yeah. Oh, look at that! See, perfect. Yeah, so absolutely, Russ. In a smaller league, you're consolidating and trying to get the horses on your team. You want the guys who put up huge points because that's just kind of how the league is. If you're in a 14-team league, then you start breaking down into multiple assets and trying to spread depth. But a 10-team league, no, consolidate and go get horses. So I agree with you.
I don't know who. I'm assuming he got. Who are we talking about? Justin Fields for a sixth round pick.
I have absolutely no idea.
I don't think he gets 6 rounds in rookie, so I'm assuming. I think that's Justin Fields as well. He's from Ohio State, right?
Yep.
Anyone know college? Cool. Thoughts on David Bell out of Purdue? He's on the edge of his evaluation. I like him a lot, actually, especially I have to ignore his 19th year because he didn't play enough games, but it was a really impressive year per game. And his age 18 and 20 seasons were very much solid. So outside of draft concerns, I like him a lot. Like a lot. Like if he gets drafted in the first 3 rounds, I might not stay in my chair.
Well, and that's always the thing with wide receivers is you're hoping day 2, you're hoping first 3 rounds. But Bell, to me, out of Purdue, has very good hands as a hands catcher, catches the ball away from his body, which again, that's you're looking for that because if the ball travels in, you have the chance of the ball deflecting off you, but also there's the defender is able to get hands in. He's exceptional at finding the creases and sitting in those holes in zones, which is one of the things that I really have started to value highly with wide receivers. It was something that I saw with Kupp, was something that I saw with Juju, was something that I saw with A.J. Brown, something that I saw with Justin Jefferson. And so it's become one of the traits that I really look for. David Bell is really good at that. He's got tremendous awareness. He always seems to be in the right place. And he also has 3 distinct moves off press, which a lot of times in college, you don't get pressed very often. So like man coverage where they're up at the line of scrimmage and they're getting physical with a wide receiver. David Bell has a stutter, a jab step, which he uses across, and those he can get off press coverage, not get rerouted, that sort of thing. I do think that the knock on Bell is going to be that he's not real fast, but he plays steadily. He has good pace. So even though he's not a burner, he can change speeds and kind of utilize that. And the other thing that the lack of speed kind of hinders is he has struggles separating against press coverage or man coverage. I mean, not press coverage, but man coverage sometimes. So those are the positives and negatives on David Bell. But I think he's probably firmly in the top 5 wide receivers for me in this class.
Very cool.
He's the only player in this class to break out at the age of 19 to a 30% threshold for the team's offensive production. That's a line road of his likes to use, the 30% threshold. And it's also an example of how to use breakout age, because everyone's going to use it wrong. And breakout age Twitter is not going to like this class. They're going to like Jalen Reed, I think, by the way, who I'm not sure.
Was that while Rondale was there?
That's 2 years ago. That was in one of his injury seasons.
Okay. I just honestly don't remember.
Yeah, because Rondale Moore basically played 1 season and then never played 6 games again.
Yeah.
But yeah, D'Angelo Yancey is also in the history of this team. I like him too, not as much as either Rondale Moore or David Bell, but it is Purdue. You know, there's just a Purdue asterisk until we see the draft.
Drew Brees has something to say about that. He's just the only other guy I know.
The Purdue Gators. Go Gators.
Wide receivers literally have a 0%
Go Tigers
rate from Purdue in that conference, except for Rondale Moore. There's no one in the first 3 rounds. Spock 498. Hey, welcome back, buddy. Hey guys, love the show. Really appreciate the way people say that. Like I enjoy being lied to that way. Keep it up. Should I give up Mooney and A-Rob for Fant and Deontay Johnson? Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wait, Mooney, A-Rob, and Fant for Deontay Johnson. Yeah, I'm still good with that. Yeah.
My other T's are
start 9. Yes. Start 9. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. I read the rest of it. It doesn't affect my decision. Deontay Johnson there. Scott McCoy, 12-team half PPR. I have Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey. Just bragging? Cool.
Yeah, seriously.
Akers, Richard Penny, or it's Rashad and Penny.
His brother.
My wide receivers are... I can't find the rest of your comment, so we'll get to it. We'll get to it when it comes
He's
up.
just a master of suspense.
He is
actually. That's a pro tease right there.
I'm now eager to answer.
And next week, Scotty McCoy is wide receiver.
No.
No, I know what he's going through. I do this on the Open Bar podcast. I get halfway through a comment and hit enter. I'm like, damn it. And then everyone else comments. So we'll come back to it. Tanner Morris. Is Pitts for Lamb a good trade? Are you getting Lamb?
For getting Lamb, yes.
Yes. If you're getting Pitts, follow John Bosch at John Bosch. He'll tell you all about the goodness of that trade. Technically, yes. I'm not for it.
Pitts is good. Pitts scored
well.
Yeah.
It is. Definitely.
As if your name isn't Calvin Ridley, you can't catch touchdowns in Atlanta. It's written on the side of the building somewhere. But, yeah, Pitts had a really good season, but it's a top wide receiver versus the top tight end. Like I get that positional advantage should lean you toward Pitts, but it's a tight end. I just don't care unless you're talking. If there's premium on this, then I think the answer turns into Pitts because he will be a volume catcher. But Lamb is just really, 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 really good.
And if it's my team, I'm taking Lamb. Value wise, it's probably a little off.
I know that everybody is all in on Pitts. He's still probably 2 years away from being that difference maker, where you said that, the positional value and that sort of thing and having the advantage. He's still a couple of years from being, he looks like he will get there. Like he had a fantastic year this year. He had over 100 targets. He was one of the 5 guys that played tight end that did that. But we're still not yet where he's at that Andrews, Kelsey, Kittle.
And we also don't know what that offense is going to be for the next 2 years.
Sure.
Real quick, I pulled up ADP. Again, this is January, so it's beginning of the month. But CeeDee Lamb is the 5th player, and Kyle Pitts is 9. So I
It's
mean,
not that bad. Yeah, it's not that far off,
Pretty
especially
close.
since Lamb just dropped to wide receiver 32 this week.
facts.
Twitter's
Sharper
wild,
Dynasty
man.
player probably takes Pitts. I take Lamb because
I take Lamb.
I think I'm going to be happy with that in the long run.
You like Lamb?
I do. In
Love
fact, I
Lamb.
love lambs.
I do too.
You mean the meat? I mean the
Lamb
animal. They're
chops,
awesome.
play along, where kids come
Oh,
to
you had to
play
take
along,
it to a
and
dark
fun
place. You had
things
to take
are
it to
all
a
we
dark place.
ever do.
Mooney.
David McGrath. What's a fair value trade for Mooney? Got offered the 2 seconds, 2 mid-seconds for him. Not sure if that's fair value. It's close. It's not great. It's close.
I mean, I'll feel happier if it's super flex because you're probably pushing a couple of 4 spots because of quarterbacks. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably his value.
Yeah.
Honestly, like 1 early second is probably Mooney's value.
So Mooney's better than that. So Mooney is the player that I would pair with another player in a trade. I wouldn't just trade Mooney for picks because I don't. I think Mooney is more valuable to me in my lineup than having 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But Mooney is a type of player that you can add as a sweetener to a deal, and they go, oh well, I'm getting Darnell Mooney, and they'll be more excited about it than if you throw in a second and somebody's going, oh, you're throwing in a second.
Do you think you can get
That's
a
'cause
better
you hate
player than
picks,
Mooney
though.
for 2 seconds?
Do I think what?
Do you think you can get a better player than Mooney with those 2 seconds?
Maybe. No, I don't know. It's like that's a huge crapshoot. I mean,
there'll be
literally
someone
2
in the
coin
second
flips.
round.
Yeah,
no,
whether you
like
get
not
them-
using the picks. I mean, turning them around and trading them. Sorry if that was poorly worded.
maybe,
No,
but
I gotcha.
probably not.
No, I mean that's really it was an honest question because
The
I
value
feel
is
like
fair.
that
You
value is
take which side
probably
you
on.
prefer.
If you don't want Mooney, you should feel okay about taking that. I agree with Zach though. He is, depending on your league size, he's a very good player for your lineups. If you're starting 10 players or more, you're going to want to start Darnell Mooney eventually. So I would be fine holding on to him instead of taking those 2 picks. But if in your head you want to move him, I would take this and then figure out what to do with the seconds afterwards. Take one of those seconds and one of your wide receivers that are valued a little more and upgrade. Ow! Nothing got stuck in my throat. I am not eating or drinking, but nothing got stuck in my throat.
Dangerous world out here, kids.
You have to gauge your league, and if you think you can do better by saying this wide receiver and the 204 to get me a better player, or this wide receiver and Darnell Mooney will get me a better player, that's the answer. I mean, that's if you don't want Mooney on your team, you have to answer that question in your head, and that would just make you decide what the move to do is.
Andrew A, disagree on wide receivers. I mean,
no,
yeah,
you're wrong. We're right. You're wrong.
Pat Coughlin, what do you think we should do with Saquon? I mean, if it was a little later into the offseason, I'd be interested in... If this is his value in 2 months, I'm trading for him probably.
Yeah.
But now...
I don't trade for running backs. I want you to go trade for Saquon because it's ridiculous how far he's falling.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
wait, no, I remember looking at his ADP and being upset about it. Hold on.
just before the start of this season, like you could get Saquon Barkley in the 3rd round, and I thought that was great. I loved it in best ball. It didn't work out, but I will happily do that again for next season if that's where his value stays.
Running back 10 right now. That's crazy.
Yep.
It's Saquon freaking Barkley, and they're going to get an actual offensive-minded coach to come in, or like an offensive coordinator that knows what they're doing. And maybe Saquon won't step on a guy's foot this time.
Maybe. We can only hope he learns that kind of grace, I guess. Dude from Viking Quest. Hey, cool. I just traded Van Jefferson. Good job. Get rid of that guy. 309, 24 first. I mean, all things I don't mind getting rid of for Hurts. Yeah. And Hunter Renfro just as a throw-in.
Yeah. Just have Hunter Renfro as a 0.5 PPR. That
okay.
Whatever. If that makes you happy, that's cool. I mean, 24 first, who cares right now? So as long as you're happy, that's all that matters.
And for the other team, like this is when you have to trade for 24 first. That's the thing. Pick Twitter and pick Dynasty players. Don't like you have to trade for picks way too far in advance to get on that train, especially if you're already in a league that's playing. And so that makes sense for them too.
That's those Devi guys, Peter. The Devi guys have already they've got that all.
If you want to have all this draft capital and talk about how great young players are and how that's how you play Dynasty, if you're in an active league, you have to go 2 years out to start doing it if you don't already have it. And I think that's never really mentioned in the analysis of just go for picks. Like if you don't have them now, you have to go 2 years out and hope your league stays together for it to work. So it makes sense for him too. And again, I like trades that kind of balance out. Disagree big time. Well, I'm glad, because if you were disagreeing small time, I would be offended. Rockley, is Sean Tucker on your board for the 2023 Dynasty? Haven't seen him yet. No. Are you worried about his pass blocking?
I don't do 2023 until 2023. Like,
I completely forgot what year it was.
Yeah, no,
okay, but I got a question. Why do
Debbie Kane, Travis Mayo have an answer for you both.
How do you go with Rock Lee and use that picture for him? That is a lack of respect.
I don't
seriously, that is a beautiful, wonderful man, and you show him all beat up instead of looking beautiful with his brows nice and neat, giving like the big thumbs up with the swirlies on his thumb. Come on, man. Show Rock Lee some respect.
FF Lefty, Outhouse in the building. Sup, fellas? Yeah, we're really far behind in the comments. This is when we... Scott McCoy, if Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, Cam Akers, this is the guy. Richard Penny, still my best receiver is Michael Thomas. That's a good receiver. That's actually a good buy, and that's also why I muttered Juju to myself, because when I was telling underrated dynasty receivers, like Michael Thomas and Juju are on that list. Where was I? Should I trade for running back? No.
No, should I
not
trade
right now.
any running back?
Oh, sorry.
Yes, all of them.
Could you send me that video real quick? Because I need it. And address this problem or use the number 3 pick on Drake London. Don't pick your picks right now. Don't decide who you're going to draft right now. Like it's just gonna make it a little more difficult later. And don't take rookie picks based on positional need. I just don't. I mean, you want to hit. And then if you hit a player and it's in the wrong position or you need to trade for another position, you can. So take the best shot at doing that.
But yes, trade away Derrick Henry and Christian McCaffrey.
There's a slight asterisk for Superflex and quarterback, but even then, not this year. Rockley, Sean Tucker from Syracuse. Yeah. I'm sorry, I just
still 2023. Like, ask me in January of 2023, because I won't start until November looking at the next year's class. I don't Debbie. I don't need to get ahead of anything because I don't play in any Debbie leagues.
Yo, I'm scrolling. We are really far behind.
We're about 50 minutes, Russ, which is par for the course.
I'm going to speed up a little bit. Andrew A says Burks is a game changer dude. His market share off the charts. No one said anything negative about Burks, and his market share is very much not off the charts. I mean, it's on the chart. Literally, I have a chart. It's on it. It's very good. He looks like the best prospect in this class. Like, I don't... Can we be more positive than the best player in this class? I'm sorry, is that not high enough for you? He's the best player in an imaginary class. Like, sorry, we recommend him as a 1, I guess. Rashad, you're good, man. Have you seen my typing? Scott, seriously, you're good. You are good. Like, sorry. Spencer, should I hold on to Jalen Hurts to see how he does next season? I didn't get to sooner. We did. This is us being far behind. Sorry, Spencer.
Very fair, very fair. Yes, hold on to Jalen Hurts.
To hear us say it, but yes, I would. This year, wide receiver could land on the Chargers, Chief. Yeah, or anywhere. Yeah.
I think we're still talking about that guy, Burks, maybe.
Yeah. Yes. He could land on a great team.
Yeah. Just like AJ Brown was going to land on.
No, Allen Robinson going to the Chargers. It's happening. Leave it alone.
What's up, fellas? Contender in a 16-team, 1 QB, half PPR dinosaur loaded with Swift, Akers, Cooks, Jones, Aaron Jones.
Wow.
Love him. Looking to move Jones to build depth at wide receiver. Thoughts on possible wide receivers to target? This is one I have answers for. Ones that I think are undervalued, so easier to trade for in general would be Juju, Devontae Smith, Elijah Moore. Run him more, but not if you're actually already loaded at running back. He's a little bit more of a, I don't know what's going to happen. And Michael Thomas. Those are the ones that I've been mentioning today, so I'm going to stick with those ones. Anyone got anyone else?
There's another more. DJ would be. I mean, like if you're stacked, like he's a guy who's going to probably be right in that top 24 with potential top 12 upside.
Marquise Brown.
Oh, now you're speaking Peter's language.
I think he's I love him, but I think he's kind of valued around where the trades I've seen coming my way have been around about. I've chosen not Marcus Brown a few times, which is radical for me.
Well, they're right next to each other in ADP. Like I pulled up the ADP. I saw Aaron Jones right next to him is Marquise Brown. So that's why I just threw it out there. Though.
Everyone I just mentioned, I think, has top 12 upside. Marcus Brown's more of a top 24 guy at this point. We just saw him with a volume, and he was. I love the guy, but he probably doesn't quite have the upside of those other guys I mentioned, I think.
I have a question. What do you think you would have to put with Aaron Jones to get to Chris Godwin?
I don't want Chris Godwin.
No?
I no.
Why?
I'm just sad when he got hurt. That's the only thing that I feel unhappy about with Chris Godwin. Because he's not going to be ready for the beginning of the season.
No, I get that.
Had an ACL tear. He was valued in the top 12 a lot this season. Like you're paying for what I hope he can be with an ACL tear. Now his value might have changed recently, but yeah.
And that's my question is has he fallen enough to be of value where you don't have to put much with Aaron Jones to get Godwin?
The problem
you can get
is
Michael Thomas. For the same level, like that's what's doing it for Godwin for me. And it's like I can get no.
The problem is everyone is already.
But I get it. I get it for sure.
So that's the only reason I think you need to add a second to get to Chris Godwin.
Yeah, that's fair. I like Chris Godwin. He's an amazing player. Let's let me so I can quote this bit when someone else tells me I was wrong on Chris Godwin. Yeah, great player. Saying CD Lamb is in the top 3 dynasty waiver isn't taken. It's saying he's bad. He was overvalued entirely because of the jersey he wears. It's I don't even know what a jersey looks like. Come on, man.
No, he was highly rated before he came into the league.
Yeah, you can't tell a guy who doesn't watch football that he's watching too much football. Sorry.
Well, the fact is, Peter watches the wrong football, so I mean, he doesn't. He calls them sweaters, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he is in a rare category for performance, not anything else. Clyde Aker, what is the after draft values of top 3 or 4 players at each position in the rookie draft? Is Burks higher value than Hall or a QB? I think Burks, Hall, and Spiller, depending on the draft, are going to be take running back or wide receiver, and that'll be the difference maker. They're going to be pick 1, 2, and 3. Especially not in a super flex. Even this year, based on what I'm hearing about quarterback, I haven't done it myself yet. I think they'll be in a conversation for the 101 because this class is kind of low on quarterback as well. Yeah, so
that's what I'm hearing.
They're all in a solid tier right now, and it's real difficult to separate them out. That's where I'm at. FF Lefty, I know I'm late to the party, but the chat is all over the place right now. TF is going on. I know we're inspiring debate. Evan, some guy shouting into the wind. That's me. Yeah, I like doing it. It's my style. All sports. What to do with James Robinson right now? If his value drops low enough, he's one of those few running backs I would trade for. I don't think it's there yet. He's not worth a second. He's not worth a first. It's in between. If it falls back to a second, I'm in again. So just depending on your league, gauge when that time is. But he's a running back in January outside of that. So nothing. Aaron A, weird state Garrett Wilson has never led Ohio State in yards, and he's only a month younger than Olave. I know how to say Olave, by the way. Someone taught me before I needed to know. Right? Yeah.
You couldn't say
I like
Olave,
Olave
but you got Olave.
Again, like I have Olave ranked, I have a Wilson as well. So I don't know why you're disagreeing with my exact take. Don't know what that means. Blah, blah. Bob Gilchrist. Hey, Bob.
Didn't
trade
away. Go away?
He did.
To be fair, we hadn't caught up to that by then.
Traded away Nick Chubb for Gerald Everett and Joe Burrow. Like, why are you trading for Jared over it. But anyway,
No.
big three.
Oh, he traded for Joe
Junction,
Burrow.
junction. What's your function? Nick Chubb and Gerald Everett for Joe Burrow.
I saw pick 3. I'm out. Whatever Russ said. It's too complicated for my taste. Higgins for Moore and the.
I don't
108.
care which more. The answer is Higgins.
Yeah.
I'm so sad at what happened with DJ. That DJ Moore never hit what he should have been. But
Oh, if it's DJ Moore,
I still want Higgins.
Yeah, I'd lean the Moore side, but yeah, it's fire. It's fair.
It's fire.
Pizza Cone Studios.
That's a good
Do
name.
you make films? That sounds like a great name for a film studio.
Yeah, that's a great name.
Yeah. What do you think
Or-
about that?
or a
Also,
restaurant.
pizza cones.
Pizza
Screw
cones.
ice cream. Pizza cones. What do you think about Zach Wilson's price in Superflex? Whatever it is, it's too much. Some people think he's worth a 101. Nope.
No, I don't know anyone who thinks that.
Late first. There's a lot of risk in Zach Wilson right now.
It wasn't worth a 105 last year. I mean, he's not. His price did not go up.
Toronto Dave, hey buddy, I'm trying very hard not to trade for a running back. You can trade, like it's your team, and if you
it
find
makes you
a
happy,
good,
man, go do it.
like I've been saying, don't trade for running backs, but it's not about the timing; it's about the trade. If you get a good trade, you can do it whatever you want. So don't let me being an idiot stop you. Like you can trade for running backs, it's fine. I just traded Penny for the 203, and a 2023 third rounder. Cool. We'd rather gamble on the picks. I think that's fair. There's a lot of risk in Penny. Honestly, I tend to side players over second and third round picks, but
203 by itself is a great get. So getting that additional third, I think, is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Terrence Marshall was released and on the waiver wire. Yes, he's worth a pickup. Yeah.
You made Peter say something not bad about Terrence Marshall.
Daniel McGrath.
I was gonna ask if he meant his
life?
Dynasty League or if this was NFL news that we were breaking out, and I wasn't sure.
I got a little worried when I saw waiver wire. I'm like, okay.
Wow. No, I don't think it's that bad for Terrence Marshall. Yeah, he's worth a pickup. And I would gladly pick up Terrence Marshall off the waiver wire. Do it now. I hope we got to you in time. FF Lefty, welcome back. Just got to say, appreciate the hell out of you dudes and what you do for Dynasty Freaks and Geeks. It's Checks Watch, still January. Love the grind.
Wait, has anybody made that podcast yet? Dynasty Freaks and Geeks? Let's go.
We should make that one. We're not doing enough.
It also was just a great TV show, by the way, just to put it out there.
Hey, Z. Just got this question in the DMs. I went Lamar side. Dynasty Superflex trade, half PPR, 4-point passing touchdown, 6-point rushing touchdown. Stafford and Gabe Davis for Lamar Jackson and Tyler Boyd. Lamar Jackson
and Boyd, yeah.
It's just Lamar Jackson.
Do you think that there's any... I heard one or two people say that they think Stafford's going to not do as well as he did this year. Do you think there's any reason that just like exposure to having seen Stafford in this offense defenses will do better against him going forward? Like, is there any reason to think that he can't do what he did this year again?
Defenses adjust. That's the thing.
No,
it's real NFL stuff. They do.
Like, honestly, I would rather have Boyd over Gabe Davis, but let's be honest, it's whichever makes you happier. And you take Lamar Jackson over Matt Stafford. So the answer is Lamar Jackson. Just to put it out there, I was legitimately just asking.
No, it's a good question. I'm not expecting a particularly big regression, but I really haven't gotten to projections or anything. I think it's an interesting thought. I don't think there's anything we can use to predict that. I think he's a good quarterback in a great system.
Right?
But I don't think he did anything more this year than he's done in the past. Like,
no, that's the thing. He does what he does, but in a better system.
In Matt Stafford, and
so.
Here we are.
Hasn't figured him out yet.
No, I was just curious if one of you guys had a thought that I've heard, because I wasn't in a place where I could say, why would you say that? So I was, if either of you were just like, well, maybe I could understand what they were thinking. But
unfortunately, I got nothing for you. It's an interesting one.
He had 2 years in Detroit where he had more completions. He had 2 years in Detroit where he had more attempts.
Did you have this like up and ready in case
he has
about Stafford?
2 years in Detroit where he had more yards than he did this year? Like, this is not a new thing. This is Matt Stafford, but that's still Lamar Jackson in that trade.
Yeah.
112 for the 20 and the 203 for a first next year. Yeah, I'd do it.
Yeah.
I'd take the first. Yeah.
That
year.
happened in a trade addicts league. Someone traded the 112 for a 23 first. And that was like, no, that makes perfect sense because let's face it, the 23 class is already valued equal to the 21 class, and there is a very good chance that pick won't be the 12, the one you're getting next year.
I'm probably trading anywhere from the 108 to the 112
and honestly, I think it's fair on the other side too, because there's flat value. Like what Zach was just saying, he could get a great player at 112, and you've insulated the risk. I think it's it's a good trade.
But what I was going to say is, if you're okay with the idea of the 112 for that first, the 203 shouldn't change your mind,
right?
That's kind of where I was going with saying that this was a trade I saw, and I was like, yeah, no, awesome. That is a perfect trade. The 203, like when you're talking about a trade that involves these ones, these firsts, the 23 class, a second. Not the 201, it shouldn't change your mind. So, yes, go. You can. Yes, it's worth it.
What's a good offer for Saquon or CMC in rookie picks? Again, right now, I'm really hesitant to trade for them. 2 firsts.
Man, I would throw the 106 and the 202 and see if that goes, because it might.
Oh, wow. Yeah, if you can get that, do that.
For Saquon, not CMC. Let me qualify that. For Saquon, not CMC, because people are weirdly not low enough on CMC, if you ask me. But if you can pull Saquon for the 106 and the 202, I would learn to do cartwheels so I could do them for you.
I would pay to see that too. Jacob Callaway just traded away. You should actually do that. Anyway, Jacob Callaway just traded away
Canton
for a third.
I can see Russ out on the green just doing roundoffs.
Yeah, pulling the Chris Farley, baby. Woo!
When with the technical terms, that's what I love. Hopkins and a third for Tony in 2 seconds. Give me Hopkins. Honestly.
Hopkins and a third for Tony, the 201.
I know.
No, DeAndre
I'll
Hopkins
assume all the risk.
Yeah, by a lot.
I'll assume all the risk. I don't care. The risk is on the D-Hop side because he's older. If he doesn't do well next year, you're done. But I went off the cliff with AJ with Calvin Johnson. I went off the cliff with Antonio Brown, and then he got back on top of the cliff for a little while, and then it went off again. Like I'm just not. Yeah, I'll take that.
I don't even
generational players.
I don't even think all the risk is on the Hopkins side. You just said if Hopkins doesn't come back, you're done. If Tony doesn't start, you haven't even begun. Like there's not. Like,
yeah, but you've got 2 seconds.
I guess.
No, honestly, I get this trade, and I traded Hopkins away very cheaply in a team I had in the playoffs. So I wish I got Tony at the 201 and the 23 second. So I don't hate this trade. I get it, especially if you wanted to get younger. This is probably better than you thought you can get because the world just thinks DeAndre Hopkins is left for dead. Yeah. So honestly,
that's fair. Like that trade is fair. I would take, and for me personally, I'd rather lose the value and the safe and the 2 picks than have to ever say, yeah, I gave up on DeAndre Hopkins if he doesn't.
That is
I'm just not doing
statement. That is a very fair statement.
I'm big on CD. Me too, bud.
We agree on wide receivers.
Yeah, again. 4th and 1. Move the show, guys. Move the show.
I think that was a typo. Faster.
The weekly show with Dynasty Outlast and Addison is a routine watch for me. Great stuff happening at DLF. Yeah, those guys are great. Apart from Addison, who refs outed recently as a jerk. I traded
not very recently. I've been saying it for forever.
And Schultz and this 210 in 2022 for a 3rd and 4th in.
Nope. That's and again.
I'm having trouble here, guys. For Terry
Gabe Davis, Dalton Schultz, the 210, and his 3rd and 4th in 23 for. Thank you. Finally, for Terry McLaurin, a 23 second. So he traded Gabe Davis, Dalton Schultz, the 210, a 23 3rd and 4th for Terry and a 23 second. I don't care about Gabe Davis's blow up. I don't care that Terry McLaurin had a bad end of a season. You did a good move by paying that for Terry McLaurin. Good job. Yeah. And the 23 second, great job.
I agree now. Russ explained it. David Hayes, what do you think about Zach Wilson's price in Superflex? Sorry, we didn't get to this question earlier. I think he asked it again because he thought we were missing him.
No, we're just
I definitely think. I think, yeah, I think we covered this. 4th and 1. Vibes. B.A. Howdy. Hey, lighting up and clamp. Yeah, it's just tobacco. I've been asked that question so many times this week. What are you smoking, gambler? Very boring tobacco. Sorry.
I remember the first time I podcasted with you, and you're just sitting there talking, just like, and I'm just like, bro, we're recording. And he's just like,
it is a brave new world. I'm sorry. I'm watching YouTube videos and people are literally advertising like cannabis, like actual cannabis on their promos
4 years ago. It wasn't a brave new world back then.
To be clear, I just smoke tobacco. I don't even drink apart from every now and again. I'm very boring. Sorry. I wish I was representing the edgy crowd. I am not. 4th and 1. Commit had the strongest target share in Chicago for sure. No touchdowns. Screams by to me. Yeah, it's a good way of looking for it. J Clasp. In 1 QB, I have 2 Tannehill. Brady, you have too many quarterbacks in 1 quarterback. And have 4 QBs seems like a waste of space. It does, but they're so hard to trade.
You have aren't super steady right now. I mean, Brady could retire. Watson. Yeah. I mean, man, it's
Tannehill's getting cut.
He doesn't play in the NFL again. And I like Tua and Tannehill just fine. So, like, honestly, I don't do anything just yet.
I think there's a risk.
Find someone to buy Brady or Watson.
There's a risk with Tannehill. Something Travis May was talking about. His cap hit is really big.
Oh, well, he does know Tennessee. So, okay.
Yeah.
I'll submit to him on that one.
So they might be a little more insecure than even you were saying. So that's a good point.
Yeah, so maybe it's trying 2 for 1 for another, like try and send Tannehill and Brady for someone, and like someone you feel better about.
Yeah. Travis, finally, like the only reason we're here.
Seriously, where have you been this whole time, Travis?
How long? Can't start the show and you come in this late. Janice, complain about 1 QB because it's not reflective of actually good NFL QBs. Cheers, Jalen Hurts, because he's not reflective of any of actually good QBs. Did I do this right? Something like that. I know, I'm honestly lost. In the Jalen Hurts takes, but
she just likes 1 QB leagues, and she thought we were bad talking 1 QB leagues, which that was not the intention.
You were, I wasn't.
No, I was just trying to find a way to.
I think you were
on two tight end leagues. That's all I was doing. 2 tight end is wrong.
See, if Ryan Fitzpatrick can make it in the league, so can Jalen Hurts.
That man is a
my boy's
treasure.
Wicked
Don't
smart.
You dare disparage Ryan Fitzpatrick. He is a treasure.
Don't bring Ryan Fitzpatrick hate onto a dynasty setting, man. We just we don't get a lot of fun. That was fun. 4th and 1, low less. All fantasy is at the end of the day is data and trying to predict the future based on the past. Yeah, it's trying to be Nostradamus when we openly admit we can't be.
That's not true. I don't numbers at all. That's it. Peter is my numbers.
I make shit up as I go along. That's how I play this game.
Guy.
Just do what's fun for you.
Yes.
The guy in the top right is 50 more leagues than you, Andrew. We're getting defended finally. Thoughts on Trey McBride? I haven't got to him yet. I have noticed him though. He stands pretty close to the top at tight end. He's a tight end rookie, 2022 rookie,
and Colorado State. And I was watching. Pierre Strong, who is a South Dakota State running back. But they played Colorado State, and because it's South Dakota State, there are no cut-ups. So I had to watch the full game. And so I'm watching Trey McBride just absolutely eat South Dakota State while I'm trying to watch Pierre Strong. So I am in. I am excited. I will have more for you in like 3 weeks after I watch all the tight ends. But yes, Trey McBride looks like he should be one of the top tight ends in this class. Peter has him at 1.
Yeah, just quick glance. Trey McBride is going to be 1. There's one guy, Isaiah Likely, but he plays for Coastal Carolina, so I'm assuming he's going to fall a little bit upon review, and Trey McBride stands out of it. Those two. And maybe Greg Dolch, but yeah, it's Trey McBride. Right.
The name Pierre Strong is kind of wonderful. I feel like he should be a lineman because I picture a lumberjack. With that name.
Matt Foreman hadn't watched him yet, and I said I was watching Pierre Strong. He said, "Does he play strong?" And I said, "No, he plays Pierre."
That was worth the wait. And the objective. What do you do with Clyde Edwards-Helaire? I want to unload him in fear of competition from the draft free agency, but everyone hates him. That's actually true. They literally hate him at this point. Unless they play in the NFL, and then they all seem to like him pretty well. In a 1QB, what should I be expecting for him so far at this point? A first.
In a 1QB league, you should get a late first for him. I don't know if you are. I don't think you will.
Even I would hold him for that.
Because the honest answer is, depending on your league size, if you're starting 2 running backs, just keep him as your RB2. He scores well enough, and I don't think you have to worry about competition because it doesn't matter. Like, they don't seem to care who they put out there. Like, why are they still putting Darrell Williams out there? Like, it's like they don't. It's accept CEH for who he is. You have to, if KC wins the Super Bowl and it's because of CEH, maybe his price will spike, but otherwise it's not going to go up. So you just ride him like you have been with Josh Jacobs, because it's not like you could sell Jacobs for a lot, but he's still going to score you like RB 12-ish.
That to me is the pivot. Go get Josh Jacobs for Helaire, because I think you're going to get more out of Jacobs. And if you look at Jacobs' receiving share or his
it was weird this year,
targets and reception, but it has gone up all 3 years.
Oh, has it?
And there's a new coaching staff coming in, and like this is a thing.
Do you think people value CEH over?
I think it's very similar, because I think both of them were drafted as the 101 in their respective classes. Both disappointed. Both didn't do what people thought they were going to do as far as pass catching. And I think Jacobs is actually better, and they're valued very similarly.
Jacobs RB23, CEH RB24. So
that's very similarly.
As similarly as you can get.
So start with offer CEH for Jacobs and a third. If they say no, offer CEH and a third for Jacobs and see what happens.
Yeah.
Who cares about
brilliant?
Jonas, I increasingly feel like you've soured on me, like you don't like me anymore. And that's actually good. Good job reading characters. No,
but she still comes
Traylon
back.
Burks' his head and shoulders and arms above the rest, not even close. Huh, Peter? I really do feel like you're setting me up for an own here, but yeah.
I think she's saying he's tall.
Outside of running back has more value and positional value. Yeah, pretty much. That's where I'm at. I'm looking forward to getting the hit on that one. 4th and 1. Guys in my 10-team Superflex league is to undervalue the QB. Seem to undervalue quarterback. Should I hang in there and take top QBs at the 106 if it happens to be prime range of the top QB? I don't need the QB, but that seems to be a big pick.
If they don't value QBs don't have value. Your league is the market, and you're in a 10-team league, which means it does devalue quarterbacks, even if it is super flex, because in a 10-team league, most teams will have at least 2 or 3. So it's not something that the demand is less. And if these QBs aren't really that great, you're not really doing yourself any service by taking a quarterback over someone who might be valued better, just because in the Twitter world, in the other world, QB should be valued higher. If you can't trade any of your QBs to these guys, the QBs just don't have value.
I think, yeah, your market matters more than the market that everyone wants to talk about.
Yeah.
I will say this year, I do feel like a tight end or a quarterback is going to be considered at the end of the first round.
Go look at the next. Look, don't break your finger, but I hope you accepted that already.
Yeah.
I saw that when it came up on the screen originally. Yeah, please go do that.
Dylan's going to be a thing this offseason. People are going to push him, and the upside's there. But just Cooper Kupp, shut up. Get Cooper Kupp.
with going down on Aaron Jones, that means going up on AJ Dillon. And honestly, I think that might be the right answer, but not to that level.
Yeah, I'm going to point that out. Russ said going down on Aaron Jones, and that's what we should do in Dynasty. That's how much he's good.
I have no idea what he just said. Was it bad about me? He froze, and I don't know what happened.
I froze?
Yeah, you like mid, like, I don't know, Russ, Aaron Jones.
I think I'm getting censored because I pointed out that you said go down on Aaron Jones, and I was like, that's an interesting Dynasty take. Again?
He's a good-looking guy. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, no, he's been so great for fantasy. I think he deserves a reward. So we should go trade for him in Dynasty. That's what you were saying, essentially.
That is exactly what I'm saying.
Joanna Sanchez, Zach, what do you think of Kevin Harris? He's my sleeper.
I'm
Is that the guy?
I'm not done watching Kevin Harris. I have started. I will finish him probably Friday. But my initial reaction to him was, Johannes, if you have seen Guardians of the Galaxy 2, the opening scene of that is where the Guardians fight the obelisk, the big monster that vomits rainbows. And I think that Kevin Harris runs a little bit like Drax, where he just runs and jumps straight into the mouth of the monster. So he's right straight into the defense, and then he's in the middle of the defense, trying to hack his way out. And so that's a little concerning. But I think athletically he's fantastic. He's a really good pass catcher, even though they didn't utilize him in the passing game as much as you would have liked. He did have 121 reception season, but like I said, athletic runner, doesn't do a lot of running routes, but is really dangerous post catch. So you get him in the flat and in space, and all of a sudden he's really dangerous downhill. And I think he gets up to speed kind of gradually, but he has got long speed. And so, like I said, I'm not completely done with him. I wish I could combine Kevin Harris and Dameon Pierce, because I think Dameon Pierce has great vision and none of the good stuff that Kevin Harris has. And Kevin Harris has all of the good stuff, and his vision is a little lacking.
4th and 1. Again, thoughts on Kyren Williams? I like him a lot, actually. Relative to how little hype I've heard about him. Anyway,
Little hype.
where you think he goes in the draft? I'm hoping, yeah, he's in that tier for me at running back. I haven't heard a lot. With the guy that we mentioned earlier, Tyler Batty and the Rashad White fellow, who I want to know where they're drafted, but their production looks good.
I think that
relatively good.
So maybe you and I are running different circles, because I've seen Ray Garvin tweet like 6 times in the last 3 days about how Kyren Williams is Austin Eckler, and this is the movement. I'm not quite sure that is the most likely outcome, but that is within the range of outcomes. Kyren Williams, great pass catcher, had 35 and 42 catch seasons, 200 plus carries every year, is very good. He makes his cuts go somewhere, which sounds kind of intuitive, but what I mean is he'll plant and plant on an outside leg of a defender, make the defender commit, and then continue to attack up the field, as well as make that cut back laterally. So he's attacking in 2 different directions, which means that now the defender has to catch up to 2 different directions that Kyren Williams has attacked. He's got good vision, both inside and outside. And I think, for my money, he's a better runner inside, which is weird to say about a guy 5'9", 195. There's a similar thing that we said about Devin Singletary a couple of years ago, where he looks like he should be that outside space back, but he's actually better running inside. Negatives, I think that Williams is tentative to run outside the tackles, but I think a lot of that is because he does not have great speed. He's not going to be an elite burner, and that also lends to him getting caught from behind. So if he's on a breakaway run, he's probably not going to house one. There's going to be at least a defender or 2 that is faster than Kyren Williams. And he makes too much contact for a little guy. Again, 5'9", 195, you don't necessarily want him squaring up a linebacker and trying to run him over. That's not going to fly at the next level. But I really do. Like, you can see Kyron Williams being a pass catcher plus, that's what I like to call guys who are going to come in, start out as a pass catcher. If there's an injury in the backfield or something breaks right, they can take on more of a role that Philip Lindsay, Matt Breida, Austin Eckler type player.
I was actually wrong. I have him in a tier slightly below Batty and White and another fella. But I think he's solid. He's got good production, more of a receiver than Kenneth Walker.
Yes, by a lot.
By a lot. 300 yards over last 2 seasons. Both seasons. Whatever. Gesicki or Knox? Gesicki. It's more fun to say.
I just
I
agree
just think he's
that.
going to produce him.
And
Nicholas J. Put these wide receivers in order. I left out Burks on purpose. Wilson, Williams. I don't know what to do with Williams yet, so I'm going to ignore it. London, Olave, and Pickens. Actually, I have them ranked, so let me go with that. Zach, can you do it faster?
I have Pickens, Wilson, London, Williams, and Olave. Although, I mean, they're all, once you get past Wilson, they're all pretty similar to me.
I like Olave, Wilson, Pickens, then London. Olave, Wilson, and Pickens are all in the same tier to me, which matters more than the actual rank, but that's the order I've got them.
Yeah, and that's same. I got Wilson and Pickens in that tier above, and then everybody else.
Yeah, I'm being told I'm low on Drake Williams, but I don't feel low. Like
You mean London? Yeah,
London.
He again, people are going to really like him. He put up big numbers and multiple years, but for me, there's a but. A lot of what he did was not creating separation, and I know that if we're in the metrics realm, they don't care about that because they've got the numbers and it says that he caught balls. But I don't think he gets open. I think a lot of times he was thrown open, which is fine if you end up with a quarterback who is willing to throw that out. But if you end up with Dak Prescott or a quarterback that needs to see a player open before he throws the ball, that's not going to be successful for London. And so I'm a little bit hesitant. He's my wide receiver 6 right now, so I'm not out on him, but it's hard for me to get as excited as a lot of people that I've seen.
I like Drake London. He did better than Michael Pittman, and he did better than Amon-Ra St. Brown on the same team with a relatively similar era, and both of them are successful NFL players at this point. But both of them had goodish profiles and not great, and so that still keeps them in that range for me. Like Pickens, Wilson's, and Olave, they're either more productive or they're more productive, and they're coming from a more highly drafted conference. David Bell and Sky Moore both have got better high notes on them, on their profiles. And London looks great, but that's how he compares to the ones I have above him. I
had to look up the word monophobia just because I wanted to know and be able to diagnose Drake London, because I'm sure he's afraid of being alone. Like he doesn't go anywhere without a defender.
Oh, God. N'Keal Harry? Can you put these running backs in order? Spiller, Walker, Kyron Williams, Ford. I'm still learning on Walker, but for me, it's Spiller. I take a week off. I think about it a while, and then I come back, and I leave that kind of gap. And then Walker and Williams I have back-to-back, so Walker, Williams, Ford.
The first, so Hall, Spiller, Walker, Williams, then Ford, Ford. Ford. He's
a man who exists.
But I'd have to flip a few pages to find where he exists in my ranking.
Yeah,
it's not in that same. He's behind Pierre Strong, so Ford doesn't even play Pierre. He's behind there.
Fourth one: McLaurin, Cooper, Godwin, Elijah Moore, Rondell Moore, Rashad Bateman. We're just naming players. Donald Mooney, Ayuk, Gallup, Fuller, Juju, Chuck. Why the hell is anyone still roster? Sorry, Chuck. I have too many wide receivers. Can only start 5 weekly. How do you guys? I don't care. I don't have to start a starting lineup in for like 3 months. So yeah, I'm not too worried about that. But I would say you have players here that I would trade for whatever value I could get, which would include.
Peter's trading Godwin. We've already established that.
He's
I think you're
dropping Godwin.
interested in trading Mooney. You should be interested in trading Gallup. You should be interested in giving away Chark to get the roster spot back.
Chark's a free agent, so you hope that you get that little bit of spark of value, but otherwise,
Yeah,
yeah,
maybe.
I mean, I'm with you. Like, I don't think I'll want him on my team. If anything, you take two of these guys, put them together for someone who cares about depth right now, and try and get a better player.
So I tell you what, 4th and 1, I will send you the MP3 of the DJ Chark song. So when you make your offer to trade DJ Chark, you send that with it and say, you've got a new team name. You've got you've got this memento. Yeah, DJ Chark.
Matt Ryan, the new Big Ben. How many touchdowns did he throw this year? Not many. I think it was -3. I'd have to check my notes. I think he took touchdowns back from last year. It was bad. Pitts is the equivalent of having an elite wide receiver in a position where you that type of production is difficult to match. Yeah, sure.
But it was matched by 5 guys this year. Like, he's good. Yep. He's great. He's one of that top tier, but he's just one of that top tier.
I mean, okay. You get extra value and extra tradability for something that gives you no extra points. So cool. He had over 1,000 yards in his first year. Yes, he did. How did it feel, by the way? Was it better than having Travis Kelce? No, that's all I'm saying. I mean, yeah, he's great. And that's great. I think the values are a little exaggerated. 4th and 1. How do you guys handle people try to run you up in a trade? Had the Watson owner pull an offer on me, and I feel like you would have caved and went a bit higher, we would have gotten the deal done. I don't know. It's more of a Russ question. He does a Dynasty Trade Addicts podcast where he talks about trade etiquette and various other things.
How do you guys handle people that try to run you up in a trade? Had the Watson owner pull an offer on me, and I feel like I would have caved and went a bit higher, and we would have gotten a deal done. I mean, then screw that guy. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. There's nothing you can really do about it. Sorry?
Send a trade for what you would be willing to trade for.
Yeah, at that point, you don't talk anymore. Like, you throw him an offer and say, look, this is what I'll do. And if you want to take it, take it. If you don't. It's been fun.
You can find lamb every year. Find a lamb every year.
I feel like there's a joke somewhere in that
not till April.
Hey, it's not like the last 2 years have led us into a feeling of security and getting a wide receiver 1 out of every draft at all. That's not a thing.
There's not
4th and 1 every year. There really isn't. And well, there is. Sometimes he's drafted in the 2nd round. So good luck. The offer was more than fair. Mooney in the 106 was 202, but Watson trying to run me up for the price. Yeah, if you feel like he's just pushing the value too high, just draw a line. This is what I will trade. If you don't want it, you don't get it.
And you don't have to do something.
And I'm a little different than Russ, and I don't know how Peter approaches this, but I do, because he doesn't do this either. But what I will give you basically my best offer, and if you don't take it, that's fine.
Yeah, jump off.
And like, we've gone back and forth. Like, Peter, I know you're in the league where Bittner sent a trade to me, and I snap accepted it, and he was like, "Oh, I should have added," and I said, "If you did that, I would have snap declined it." Like, I have a line, and if I'm going to accept something, I will, and if not, then that's fine. I don't have to trade, or I don't have to trade with you. So
literally the only positive feedback I've had on Dynasty about my trades is that if someone sends me a trade and it's where my value is good, I just accept it. I'm not going to counter with a second or counter with a third. And he was like, "Wow, that was overly easy." It's like, that's what I'm at. If you offer me something I think is at my value, I'm just going to take it. I'm not going to fool with you. I find it good, but Russ said I'm league shaming if I do that, I think. Harris highlights. Got a big offer on the table. 1 QB, that's important. Kamara, Golladay, and Juju. For the 110, 205, Claypool, Collins.
Yeah.
Take Kamara, Galladay, Juju.
Yeah, that's mystery boxes for boats. Take the boats.
Could even be a boat.
Just take the boat. What should I do with Judy? Should I wait for a possible big name QB to land in Denver? And then you're waiting for positive news at this point if you want to trade him.
Unless you have a guy like me in your league who just loves him anyway, in which case just go trade him now. But if you are in a league of smart people who actually go based off of news and not just rose-colored glasses, you wait for them to sign Aaron Rodgers or whatever they're going to do.
If you're in a league with someone like Russ, you don't have to send an offer. He's already sent you an offer, so you already know the answer to that one. To be honest,
that is a very fair point.
Traded Kamara and Renfrew for the 2022 110 is a popular pick to trade, apparently. Harris, Pittman, and a 23 first.
I like the side that they got. Yeah.
I like,
Hannah, you did well.
First. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I like Harris and the pick.
And I'm good keeping Harris.
You just don't like Pittman, and that's fine, but like whatever. He's better than the 110 this year.
I mean, but think about it. Kamara and Harris, I'd rather have Harris. Renfro and Pittman is even enough, and I'd probably take a 23 first over the 110.
I'll be honest with you. This is the Harris side by a mile. Harris, Pittman, and a first for an aging Kamara. Hunter Renfro, who some people won't value as a second-round pick, and a late pick this year. Honestly, I think it was a little unfair, and you definitely got the right side of the deal. So, I was offered Kamara, Juju, Galladay in the 110 for the 205.
Did you just went backwards?
I think this is.
I went forwards. Hey, I do a lot wrong. You don't have to make stuff up me get it wrong. This one we've already done. I think he's laughing at your Rock Lee joke. That's
yes.
Far behind me. Join us. Russ is our way to take advantage of someone who thinks you're a creepy FF manager. Crappy FF manager. Sorry.
Totally different.
Creepy works.
Creepy is not as easy to take advantage of.
Fair. What's an instant red flag as being a crappy player in your eyes? He's talking to you.
I mean, that's what kind. Like, crappy is such an all-encompassing word. Like, are they bad at playing fantasy football? In which case, they're. See, it's really funny because they're like me, and it's not that I'm crappy. It's just that I'm in enough leagues and I play low stakes enough that I could do whatever the hell I want, and I don't feel bad about it. But if you're in you're in a league with a person who constantly is just overpaying for people they want, you be a creepy fantasy manager and stalk their Twitter, find out who they're talking about, go get them cheap and sell them more expensive to that person. I mean, that's the way you take advantage of them, because you can usually predict how they'll be bad. That's part of being bad, is being predictable.
Take notes like that. Sorry, I don't mean to.
I wish I tried for like 2 weeks, and I'm just like, I don't know. I don't have the patience.
It's such an advantage. Like, it's such an advantage.
I'm the same way. I started to.
I mean, like explain it, Zach, just in case.
Like I'm fully like, this is Leo Pasiga. This is not me. I caught this, and it's one of those where if you stand on the shoulders of giants, you can see a lot further. And it's taking notes on your league mates and taking notes on tendencies and understanding what players they like, what types of players they like, whether or not they like picks. I know that I value seconds thrown into a trade way less than Russ values getting that second. And so when he and I make a trade and I can throw in a second and he'll go, ooh, a second. And I'm going, ooh, it's a second. Yeah. And I know it, because I've got these notes on, and I'm only in 6 leagues. So it's not like I've got, 50 leagues that I'm keeping notes on. But I've got 6 leagues and there are some crossovers of players. So I'm keeping notes on probably 35 or 40 people and understanding how they play. And that is an advantage. And it's not necessarily, maybe we're not answering the question because it's not crappy players, but everybody has flaws in what they're doing. There are things that you don't do well, and those are exploitable.
To me, a crappy player is anyone who vetoes a trade. So I got a weird definition.
Oh God, yes, that is. Oh man,
Clyde in the 103 for the 23 first, and J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins,
I like it.
Probably. Yeah, it's fine.
First and Dobbins, very easily.
I feel like we're screaming into the void. He's not
Don't
answering our question. See, you guys are talking, and all I can see is the next comments, and are they talking to us? Is this pre-recorded? And I'm like,
it's because
I'm trying my best.
We're an hour behind the comments.
I think
that's real bad, guys.
Optimistic. I'm sorry, Janice. I'm trying my best.
You'll feel even worse when you get lower into the comments by saying that.
I know. Wyatt Johnson 102 and got it for Pitts. Pitts. And I think
Pitts.
Screaming Ray.
That's fine.
Daniel McGrath. I have the 107. Who do you guys have going at that spot currently? It's a wide receiver, best guess.
Yeah, that's the answer. It's a wide receiver at that point.
There's a clear tier of about 5 guys. It could be draft is going to change all of it.
Justin Ross.
There's
that void that she was screaming into.
Yeah, I got it. Jackson P. I'm Chris Godwin's biggest believer, but the 106 and the 23 first enough to move Godwin for me. Yes.
Oh yes, even for me.
Yeah,
that's
2 first. Yeah, that's fine.
And again, the 201. For a 23 first, I take the 23 first. So, like, if you're moving Godwin for the 106, which I know a lot of people probably would.
Yeah. 1 QB picks. Yeah, same thing for me in this situation. High Life Boys. 12-team Superflex startup trade 110 for the 406. Oh, startup. Sorry, I'm going to adjust here.
No.
The 110 for the 4, 6, and 7. It's too much, right?
No, I want the 1. Like, you're not the 4, 6, and 7. No, I'm not trading away a first without getting at least 2/3.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. The first pick has to come in the second or third round at least. That's too far.
Going down to 4, 6, and don't get me wrong. You will get very good players at 4, 6, and 7, most likely, depending on 12-team Superflex. Yeah, you'll still get good players then, but it's the 110. You should absolutely get a higher pick. Like that 707 should be the 307, and then I would start thinking about it.
Yeah. Ronnie Rhodes, I start up readjusting again. The 1.7 pick. Well, it's the offseason. Where would you lean to start off? Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. Would you take
Kyler Murray is still there? You take Kyler Murray
or wide receivers in the first round? That's the question. Yeah. Unless you're in that guy's league where they generally undervalue quarterback, and
he didn't say how many teams it was. That is very fair. Assuming this is 12-team, I would go Kyler, Lamar, and then whichever wide receiver makes you happy.
Yeah, Justin Chase,
whatever. I mean that's. Personal
I think in Superflex you have to take those 2 QBs in particular.
Those 2 specific the top quarterbacks. Yeah. You
just don't fuck around with that, you know. I don't. You can, sure. J-Rock 17, different rock. 12-team Superflex tight end premium. Just traded the 107 for the 205 and a 23 first. I would honestly take the 23 first. I really think this class is going to be landmine city right now, which means I just push it down the road, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's good.
Would you take Stafford Lamb on the 23 second for Jackson Metcalf and Stevenson?
Ramondre.
Yeah.
I would take Stafford and Lamb, mostly just because. Okay, I don't. I think that
I want Jackson.
Okay, so here's the thing.
I want Jackson, but I want Lamb.
And I want the second over Stevenson, and I don't think that difference matters enough between Stafford and Jackson. Because here's my problem.
Here's the thing, though. Couldn't you trade Metcalf for similar? Couldn't you trade Metcalf as well, if not better than Lamb? So I can get Jackson and then trade Metcalf for. No.
I think Metcalf has fallen even further than Lamb has. People are writing off the fact that Russell Wilson is gone. And honestly, I don't necessarily think that's a terrible thing for DK Metcalf, but that's not the point right now. I've been trying to trade Metcalf in one of my leagues because in Trade Addicts 8, Matt Price, who I can say by name because this is a DLF show and he works for DLF, that he wanted Kyler, and he traded me a lot, let's just say, because it was in the playoffs and I was giving him Kyler, and DK was part of that trade, and I didn't really want DK on my team. Am I upsetting you that much that you have to like crumble things as I? Okay, that's fine.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear that shit? Sorry.
and like I've been trying to trade DK since what, week 16, and I can't do it for anything close to a top 5 wide receiver value. Like I don't think DK's valued at that right now. So
I was going to say that's wild. Just when you think you've come to understand the inner workings of BMI Twitter, or shirtless Twitter, like, do we need to post that picture of him a lot more? Maybe that will help.
It's been too long since he's taken a shirtless pic that his value's fallen. We need some.
I feel like
a not as ripped guy, so it makes him look even better.
Peter needs a new Twitter avatar. DK Metcalf, get the value back up. Yep.
Athleticism Twitter, just they're fickle, man. I guess don't take your picks often enough, you don't get the bump. Sorry. In that case, yeah, I guess. No, I'm taking the Jackson Metcalf side.
I still want Jackson and Metcalf, and then see what I can get for Metcalf when I trade him.
Yeah, I'm taking the Stafford side because go ahead.
That's fine.
Ooh.
Jacob Smith, Dalvin Cook for 2024 first, and Saquon.
No.
And a
read that slower.
First.
Read that slower.
Dalvin Cook and a 2024 first for Saquon and Van Jefferson.
Dalvin Cook.
That's what I said the first time.
No, okay, yes, it is. There's absolutely what you said the first time. Dalvin Cook is worth more than Saquon. A 24 first is worth more than Van Jefferson. I don't understand the question.
Just the T in the 24 first is worth more than Van Jefferson.
Yeah.
That's the Cook
Van
side.
Jefferson isn't a part of this trade.
I mean, Peter's the one that knows about T, so I don't really know.
Right, I got so much. I know. How much you love Saquon, Russ?
It doesn't matter. Dalvin's worth more. 24 first is worth more than Jefferson. It's pretty easily Dalvin.
Yeah. Deshaun Watson and Elijah Mitchell worthy of the 1.1 and the 107 in a rookie draft, I'm guessing. He wants my picks because I'm weak at running back and quarterback. That doesn't matter right now, but I hear you.
There's no such thing as being weak at a position in January.
No, this helps. And also, if he's saying stuff like that to you in the comments, real easy to upset him. And also, just you should do that because he shouldn't say stuff like that in the comments. That's a nasty comment. You don't have any running backs to start in 3 months. Like, you're just trying to manipulate me at that point. This helps with weak class at quarterback and running back. Yeah.
We also don't know that Deshaun Watson, we don't know
he's not worth that.
So no, absolutely not. Keep the picks.
Deshaun Watson is not worth the 101. And so he's just trying to manipulate you.
In 7 months, when you have to start thinking about your lineups, you'll worry about it.
I do think Watson will play again. It's looking like at the moment, but like there's plenty of risk. Like he's not worth the 101 right now. And Mitchell for 107 is around about where we're hearing his value is, which we've already said is kind of borderline. So not for me, but thank you very much would be probably my reply. Not right now. We'll see how it goes. What did you do with D.A. Chalk? I was memeing it. Like I didn't like him when he had value. I don't think he has any value right now. So, yeah.
Now I feel bad.
That's why I said you're going to feel bad when you read further into the comments.
I do because I shouted her out on J Mike's show that hasn't come out yet this week.
You guys could call me Joe or Joanne, but my name is you guys.
Joanna
Joanna C. Okay, I apologize. I honestly did not know that. Thanks for letting me know.
What do you prefer? Do you prefer Joe?
Well, we'll answer.
Why am I waiting for a response?
Yeah.
She said this like 15 minutes ago. But yeah, we would like to know. We don't want to misname anyone because I do that too often.
Oh no, they've stopped talking. We're caught up. I think everyone went to bed.
All right, cool.
At 11:30.
Dude, Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray for Trevor plus what? 12-team Superflex.
As in, like, what do you need on top of Trevor to get Kyler? I mean, the answer is a lot. Like, you're probably talking first plus. Like, I don't think Trevor in a 23 first comes close to getting you Kyler Murray.
2 firsts.
Yeah,
Probably the value difference.
It's weird to say, and I think Trevor Lawrence is worth more than the 101. So Trevor Lawrence is worth more than a first. So maybe that does mean Kyler is worth more than 3 firsts.
I mean, yeah, you're looking at T. Higgins. If you're looking for one thing to get you to, like, you're looking for a real good player. If you just
I think he doesn't have the name cachet to sound fancy to do that. I think you would have to do Trevor Lawrence and. I mean, not necessarily CeeDee Lamb or like those top 3 guys, but someone not far behind Trevor Lawrence and Cooper Kupp for Kyler Murray.
Yeah, it'd take a player that makes you wins to get that difference.
Yeah,
Which do you prefer between Amon-Ra and a 2023 mid first, or ETN, Tony, and 202?
Amon-Ra on the first.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the idea of ETN.
If you can buy him at a value right now, he's one of the running backs I do that with. That's not a value. That's what he. That's fine.
Yeah, and I mean, Amon-Ra, he's not what he did at the end of the season. As long as you know that now, and know what he like, if you can sell him for what he did at the end of the season, more power to you. But I don't think that's what this is. The 23 first for ETN is probably kind of spot on. I would rather have Amon-Ra over Tony in the 202.
Amon-Ra has Kenny Golladay upside and Kenny Golladay downside in different years. That's the way I
honestly, I think Amon-Ra is safer because he's not that.
He's probably somewhere in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's not an X body type. He is a possession receiver. He's a slot. He is. He needs Kenny Golladay on the other side. He needs to be Golden Tate. And
I just think fantasy production. I don't care how they're making it. And I guess that's why I come up with different comparisons.
It does matter. It does matter, Peter.
It does. Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. It makes you feel different when you watch it. Jacob Smith, holy hell! I asked a question 30 minutes ago and I haven't heard anything. I'm sorry, Jacob.
No, we got there. We got there like 10 minutes ago.
Fault.
That was the Dalvin side.
Ashton Springer. Hey guys. Hey buddy, how you doing? West Coast Chiefer. Russ, what about your trade attempt with Tyler Carr?
I saw this and I pulled it up. First of all, I have no idea who West Coast Chiefer is and how he knows about my trade offer, but my trade offer was a trade addicts league, so 12-team super flex, PPR, tight end premium. I offered DK Metcalf for Zach Wilson, T. Higgins, and an early, I don't remember that off. I think it's like 202. And it was snap rejected because Tyler just hates DK Metcalf.
So maybe it's just a Tyler thing. I'm just thinking.
That is a Tyler thing, but I don't think that's disrespecting DK Metcalf trying to get a quarterback in a super flex league plus T. Higgins, who again is wide receiver 11 and then an early second. I mean, I didn't think that was disrespect. I thought it was a good value.
I don't think so. Who would you take at the 102, assuming Burks goes at the 101? Hall or Spiller, whichever one's on the board.
Whichever running back you like better.
Mm-hmm. Kyler Murray, Trevor Lawrence plus Debo? I mean, I don't think he's valued there, but he should be. I think Debo is below Higgins right now.
But they're probably close enough value-wise. I think that's fine. Yeah, I mean, I would trade that away for Kyler. And honestly, I don't know if I would trade away Kyler for that, only because of what Peter just said. People don't value Debo like they should. And so you might not be able to move him. If your team's bad, I don't know if I want to hold on to Debo. So that's kind of where I'm stuck at. And start 9, that's also kind of rough.
Yeah, it's too tough. ETN or Hollywood in start 3 wide receiver PPR?
Hollywood.
Yeah, but right now I'd be interested in getting ETN because I think you can trade him for more than I can trade Hollywood for in 2 months.
That's valid.
It's one of those running backs, which is weird that his value should come up.
ETN's value is going to spike when he comes back. When you have the Cam Akers video,
I want Hollywood
of him doing the ladder drill, and it's gonna spike.
What Peter just said is the correct answer. I want Hollywood, but ETN is the correct answer. Yeah, that is very fair. Very fair, both of you.
12-team PPR, Claypool and Gus
Edwards.
Edwards?
It's either that or the mouse from Cinderella. Probably Edwards, though.
No, that's Gus.
Yeah.
It's Claypool or Elijah Mitchell.
I mean, I'm not even a big Elijah Mitchell fan, but the answer is Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah.
Okay. I went the opposite. Got one wrong. I'm back at net zero. West Coast Chief, a DK produced with Geno Smith at quarterback. That's actually not a bad point.
No, go ahead.
A different look at Russ leaving Seattle. What are the odds the new QB is Wilson level confidence? None. No one like Russell Wilson produces that level of confidence. No one. The new QB could look to rely on DK. They should, and they probably will. That's not the issue.
That's exactly what I was saying. I said a different quarterback isn't bad for DK, and then I moved on because that's not what we were talking about at the moment. But yes, I 1000% agree with you. A new quarterback is not bad for DK Metcalf. It's bad for the offense. It's bad for Tyler Lockett for sure, but I don't think it's bad for DK Metcalf. It will be good volume-wise and clearly not efficiency-wise because damn, Russell Wilson is efficient. He's so good. But I still think exactly that new quarterback will come in and he will walk right over into the shadow of the mountainous DK Metcalf and not leave his side until, he can, walk perfectly in his shadow and understand his movements, because that's the smart thing to do.
Also, there's no quarterback I would have anywhere near the same confidence that can make players productive. The problem is the offense, and that's staying the same. Pete Carroll's there, that's staying the same. Russell Wilson can make it work. Everyone else is, can they? Russell Wilson can. Everyone else is, no, Russell Wilson's pretty good. There's a bigger question, no matter who it is. I don't care. Put Drew Brees in there. I have left confidence, and that's Drew Brees prime. Ronnie Rose, Zeke, Trevor Lawrence are a first, or AJ Dillon, Mac Jones, and a 22 first. Zeke side. Oh, the 2023 first side is actually probably what.
Yeah.
I listened to Ask DLF, Tyler and Calvin before you guys. The trade was, are they stealing our day? They're meant to be yesterday.
How dare Tyler talk about me without running it by me first?
We're going to have a talk. No.
We are going to have a talk.
And the trade was mentioned today. That's how he knows. 2 or 3 of Rondell Moore. If that's Rondell for me. Jameis is going to feed DK 14 touchdowns.
Oh, that's a good point. And if you're in an IDP league, that means that DK is going to have like 15 or 16 tackles on Jameis picks. So that could be a steal.
Oh, that hurt.
I don't think anyone's appreciating how much extra Russell Wilson has to do to throw those deep balls in Pete Carroll's system. Jameis can't do any of that. He's willing to throw it, but he can't do any of the stuff he needs to do to get to the. And then he's not as accurate. He'll throw it. That's not Russell Wilson, man.
The world will see how good Russell Wilson really is, and it's going to be no one else is going to understand except Seattle fans are just going to be like,
"Shit! Remember when we were in the Super Bowl?
We could have done this the whole time."
They're not going to be the 12th man anymore. They're going to be the 7th because Russell Wilson was like 5 of their 11.
Russell Wilson was good for 7 wins on his own.
Yeah. Steelers beat reporters suggesting Juju will return. I'm happy to hear that because I've been the only one saying he's probably going to stay with the Steelers in my little circle, and that's what I expect. He wants to stay there, as far as I can tell. Should I get out on him and Claypool in advance? Claypool, his value sounds pretty good right now. So maybe Juju, no, I'm holding and buying. I think he's underrated. I believe Mapletron's talent, but he has to overcome so many obstacles.
It's funny, like when Juju first took that 1-year deal, and I really just took it as a very smart move, because you take a 1-year deal in a place you're comfortable, in a place the offense, and then next year when the TV money comes in, you go get that money contract. But the truth is, man, Juju probably doesn't need any money. Like, he might just being in Pittsburgh. The amount of Like
I think
it might
Juju's a more regular guy than when you like. He doesn't need any money in the way. If we had his money, we wouldn't need any money.
but also like the
NFL
amount
player
of
standards, he doesn't have a lot, but he doesn't care. He's got enough, and he's
But the
just
amount
happy
of-
playing in Pittsburgh. That's what it is.
But yeah, like the amount of like merchandise money that man must have is probably insane. Well, like he doesn't need like how Gronk always like never spent his NFL money. He just spent the money he got on endorsements. Like the amount of money Juju gets in endorsements must be insane. So the fact that he doesn't need to chase the big contract. So if he's happy in Pittsburgh, maybe he does just stay in Pittsburgh. I don't think it's the smart football move, but if it makes him happy, that's what matters.
Also, he is a lot better than people want to write him off. Deontay Johnson is the guy now. Chase Claypool is very good and plays a much more fantasy volatile type role, and that's great. But like Juju played how many games this season? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games this season. He had less than 8 targets in 2 of them. Like he's still getting volume. This season was short and last season was freaking weird, and they had Big Ben. Juju isn't under-talented. That's a lie. It's not just a misreading. It's a lie that he got less good. He didn't. He's very good.
Yes, he's very good.
Like, and I'll buy that talent for whatever he's like. He's training for nothing right now. So anyway, don't get me on a Juju rant, damn it.
Too late.
Yep. What are you trying to get for Lockett?
Whatever you
His
can.
production's better than his value right now, but if you need, because you need value, a first. And it sucks. A 23 first, please, would probably be my request. Do you trade Lamb for DK plus? Yes. And I love Lamb.
Yeah, I'd be fine.
But I have Lamb. But DK plus, yes.
Yeah.
Will Lance hurt Debo's production? I don't work that way.
The offense is going to be different. I don't think you can run the same offense with Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance. So I don't know. It might come out differently. I don't know how to answer that question.
No, I don't view it that way. It's literally like not a question I can answer. Also, I think we're all writing in Lance way too early, and it's not because Jimmy might win a Super Bowl. It's just that we expect it, so we think it's going to happen. Like, that's the reason. We're justifying what we think based on what we think. Like, there's no external input there. Like, I don't get it. I know it doesn't because he's a running back. Joanna Sanchez, apparently. Call me whenever you want. Call me whatever you want. From above. Okay. Thank you. Sorry to get to it so late. TJ Banks. It's the 2022 111.
No.
Wait, 101 and 106. For the
you could tell people that don't use Excel.
For Justin Jefferson overpaying. 2 first-round picks for Justin Jefferson and a second, essentially.
It's not overpaying. I'll pay the 101, the 106, and the
overpaying.
201 for Justin Jefferson.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You guys are right. Ask DLF is on Tuesday. I watch too much Dynasty Content. No, we appreciate it. We really do, man. That's great. Hate it. Pete Carroll, Hi Kids Analytics. Jimmy meme.
Hello, fellow kids.
Hello, fellow kids.
Hello, fellow children. What is Fant's outlook?
Peter.
Positive. Top 12. What? Tight end. Tight end is what he plays, right? He's top 12 tight end. He was overvalued. Now he's slightly undervalued a little bit because people expect too much out of top 12 tight ends. Could he hit a top 5 tight end season at some point and be one of those relevant guys? Yes. I mean, yeah. And like the whole Denver offense, we're kind of hoping they can pull it back around, i.e. get rid of their quarterback. Anyone. Give me Ryan Fitzpatrick. I'll be excited. Yeah, that's where I'm at. You're top 12 tight end. It's just that you only care about the top 3. That's the problem. Any hope for Hunter Long?
I mean, he's athletic. He's behind Gesicki. They're like, but tight ends, you don't have to worry. He was a
you don't have
last
to worry.
Year.
This
you don't have to worry yet. He's fine. Yeah. Like, he's probably not going to break out for another 2 years. So whatever. Relax.
what he said. Joanna Sanchez. Hi, Zach. I'm sorry for not liking your shout out on Twitter, but I don't consider myself a part of those girls. They're actually content creators. I mostly shit post and ask boring questions. You realize that's what we do?
Sure, yeah, don't sell yourself short. Like comments in the chats and keeping things going and asking intelligent questions and having stuff to put out. I absolutely hold you in that same regard.
Same.
Yeah, I'm super
Ricky
scrolling
Seals
through.
Jones. No value for Ricky Seals Jones.
Oh, look, I follow you already. Okay, never mind.
I
spent this entire time scrolling through Zach's tweets to find this shout out to see if I followed her, and I do. Just put it out.
I assume I do. Should the Niners have taken Chase?
Nope. That was easy.
I don't belong in a front office. Don't want to be. Don't know. Do I trade Dylan for the 109 and 111? Both of them?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd probably do that.
Mason Rudolph is sitting there on waivers, and it's gross. But do I drop Mims to take a shot? Yes, you drop Mims, and sure, add Mason Rudolph into that.
What I need you to do is I need you to get a Pittsburgh Steelers helmet. I need you to hit yourself in the head with it, and then don't do
that. That was in a video game. Whatever. Don't actually hit yourself. Yeah, but you can drop Mims. Yeah. And Mason Rudolph, sure.
Yeah.
What do you all think of Higgins, Renfrew, and Javonte values? What do you think all three of those are worth in Dynasty? Individually, I assume.
Okay, so I have apparently been underestimating what people will do with Javonte Williams. Ever since
Me too.
Towards the end of the season, fantasy season, because clearly the season's not over yet. I mean, I started saying that Javonte Williams will by default be a top 7 running back just because of other guys aging out, because of the injuries of CMC and Saquon Barkley and all that stuff. In January, he was running back 5 already.
Yeah, 7 was low.
Yeah, I did not. Man, like,
oh no! In that case, I underrated it in the opposite direction. I thought they'd be heavier. I've got him as a running back 5 in my ranks, and I thought I was going to be low.
No, I kind of was expecting 7 until the second we saw the news. If Melvin Gordon does leave, then yeah, I would see that bump coming from 7 to 5 and like just not think anything of it. But man,
you got to remember, Melvin Gordon is over the age of 18, and therefore people just can't wait for him to leave. So they're just writing that, penciling that in. That's
okay.
It.
T. Higgins is wide receiver 11 in DLF ADP, and I think that is fine. He's probably valued around that in trades as well. Like, you would think that you would be able to slide it past some people, like, hey, wide receiver 2 from that guy, from that team, I'll give you the wide receiver 1 on this team, and they're just like, no, T. Higgins, which makes me sad because I wanted T. Higgins on all of my teams. But he's valued like he should be, and that's kind of awesome, not gonna lie. Hunter Renfrow, like Peter was saying before, like there's gonna be people that will just refuse to put him above a second, and if that's the case, go trade for Hunter Renfrow because he will produce for you.
Or won't, but who cares? Yeah, let's see. Higgins
I
care. First. You're asking about this is what I think they will trade for more often than not. Higgins 2 first-round picks. Renfrow, literally a second-round pick. Javonte, 3 first-round picks. I don't want Javonte at that value. Higgins is fair, like Russ said, and give me Renfrow all day for a second-round pick.
What did I trade Renfrow? Not Renfrow. I traded Javonte away. I think it was today. Hold on. Yeah, hold on. Let me pull it up. I traded Javonte. Oh, you'll love this one then. Javonte Williams, Harrison Bryant, and the 20. Oh, hold on. Let me. Javonte Williams, Harrison Bryant, and a 23 second for Marquise Brown and a 23 first.
Oh, wow. Seems low.
But the 23 I got is from a pretty bad team.
Right. Antonio Gibson on the 105. Gibson.
I'm not even thrilled with Gibson, but the answer is Gibson.
What teams you all think Rodgers, Russ, Watson go to?
I don't think Russ is going anywhere. I mean, I think that's the real answer. He needs to be traded for. There's no reason for them to trade him cheaply. And there's only a few teams he's willing to break his no trade clause for. So it's way too much going on that I don't think
I also
Russ goes
think
anywhere.
the only people who might possibly not be under the illusion that they are really dependent on Wilson is anyone on that team. I think they don't want that to happen either. Rodgers, fuck knows. I don't know. Rodgers is how on project. This is the kind of things that wake me up when something happens. We don't need to guess at them then because there's just too many ways you can be wrong. Watson, he's going to play for someone, and that's really all that matters, I think. Anyone got any good NFL takes? I have none.
Yeah.
No.
Just a dynasty player. Superflex 107 plus McLaurin for Lamb. Ooh. Lamb.
I'll take Lamb.
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 Don't even need the mint sauce.
I never got
Kirk,
that's just gross.
Just you hate me. Just say it. It's fine. Kirk Cousins and Rondell Moore for the 106 and the 211. Is this a super flex?
If it's super flex, it's Cousins.
Better not be a super flex.
If it's not super flex,
if it's not super flex,
probably the 106. Yeah.
But if it is super flex, I take the quarterback and Rondell Moore pretty easily.
Yeah, easily. And honestly, I'm kind of on the fence if it's not super flex. Like Rondell Moore has as much upside as a 106, I personally think right now. And a second for a quarterback, I mean, I guess that's fine. It's too much, but I guess it's fine. But yeah, probably the 106. You guys are retarded. Oh, wait, sorry, I said it wrong. You guys are retated. We're retated.
Oh, maybe he's from Boston.
Oh, that makes sense. Joe Maya, CMC 2023 second, Chuba or Gibson and a first.
CMC, a 23 second, and Chuba, or Gibson and a 23 first. I think I still want CMC, even though I don't like CMC.
Yeah, that one's close, but it's.
I want to say Gibson and a first wins a lot of trades, but I'm like,
just
right now, probably Gibson on the first. Actually,
honestly, and it's. I said before, a second will never sway me in a trade, but if that second shouldn't be there, that 23 second shouldn't be there.
Mm-hmm.
And then that trade to me is even, and I would probably take Gibson in the first because it's not CMC because I don't like paying up for running backs. But with that second there, and I know what Zach thinks, and I know in the real world the second doesn't have a whole lot of value, but it has value. I don't care. It's there, and
someone values it, so it has value. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Zach, where did you go? Because normally I just say CMC, but like Gibson and a first right now at this point in the offseason, I mean,
I think it's pretty even. So probably Gibson in the first just because it is even. And then you get younger and kick it down the field. But
hey, Andrew, sorry.
Thanks for watching, man.
I guess I can't keep reading words that might offend people, but I will gladly respond to your comments, I guess. 1QB 101 plus Knox and Bateman or Pitts in the 103.
Pitts.
And the 103, yeah.
I mean, that's the weird thing is I wasn't expecting the 103 to be there. The 101, Knox, Bateman, or Pitts, and I was thinking about it.
Yeah, that's what I was
thinking. And the 103, okay, yeah. I will slide back 2 spots. That's fine.
Bateman on the 101. I don't care. I'm not tilting on this value thing. What I do with my running backs this offseason. What do I do with my running backs this offseason? Swift, ETN, Miles Sanders, James Conner, Kenneth Gainwell. I would buy them some nice orange juice. Just keep them healthy. Maybe invite them out to the movies. Keep them free of stress. No, let's see. Wait for ETN's value to spike before you consider doing anything. Miles Sanders you can trade because he's a running back in the top 24 category, and I think his value is pretty decent right now. James Conner and Gainwell are players I would add to trades to move up to a better player that I liked more. They're really great depth, but I don't have to keep them. It's January. I'm fine moving them. Swift, he's in that tier right now. So
he's the running back 2 right now.
Yeah.
The one,
just keep him.
The one disagree, and it's a mild disagree that I would have is I would hang on to James Conner because I don't think you're going to get anything for him at this point. And if he ends back with the Cardinals, or if he ends somewhere because this is a down running back class, he could be one of those 0 RB guys that helps you in your lineup, but is not going to help you in a trade. So,
and just remember, when you hit the area of start 9, studs matter more. So if any trade you're doing, don't like trade Miles Sanders for a pick. Try and package things to upgrade. And I know everyone else in your league is thinking the same thing, but when you have a lot of people will refuse to acknowledge the fact that you don't have to set a lineup in January. So it doesn't matter if you trade away every single running back on your team. So people will be worried about their running back depth. If you can take advantage of that in 3 months when we see Travis Etienne run the ball, running because there's no ball to run, and trade Etienne and Miles Sanders and go get a top 15 running back, like that to me is the move to do.
101 or Pitts in 1 QB.
Pitts.
Right.
I mean, it was probably Pitts last year in a 1 QB.
Yeah.
And this year is not as good as last year.
I still have
unless he got Chase
over him.
I mean, I did too, but
Najee and Chase.
It was a conversation last year.
It absolutely was a conversation. It was the wrong conversation, but it was there.
And we literally just saw 1,000 yards from him. So probably fits. Harris Highlights just got offered another trade.
I want to get offered this many trades. What? Like I keep checking my phone. I'm like,
grinding, man. This man's a dude. I'd be getting the 102 and a 23 first, 23 second for Keenan Allen, AJ Dillon, and the 204. Yeah, it's the first and the second. And I love Keenan Allen, but
that's a lot of good capital.
Yeah. My team is in the middle of no man's land. In that case, definitely, man. It's
absolutely.
Time. Yeah. And it's good. By the way, that's one of the hardest things I have deciding when my team actually is in the middle and it's time to do that. And it's hard to get those trades when you finally figure it out. So you're in good shape. You're being real with yourself. I've got the 107 and the 108 in Superflex. Can that get me a high-end wide receiver or running back talent? In this draft class, you could get lucky. Honestly, there'll be some players that hit a little later, because I do think it's a landmine class. But the odds are slim. What's the hit rate in the first round for like a top 12? 25%?
The first 3 picks are closer to 50%, but then the second you hit out of like 4, it gets into the 20s already.
Yeah, and this class is going to be... There'll be someone in the second round that hits, and the 7 and 8 picks might not. I mean, there's a chance, don't get me wrong. That's why they have that. But, 25%. Traded Keenan Allen a 2022 210 for DJ Moore first.
Well, that's great.
Absolute win. Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
How to beat Tanner.
Good job, bud. Yeah. 12-team Superflex PPR. I Fields and I want to upgrade to Burrow. I think that's a natural reaction. Yeah. The owner with Burrow has shown interest in Fields. That's good to know. After 103, 106, 206 Fields plus Watts gets me Burrow. I mean, start with the 106, see if he takes it.
I was going to say start with the 106 and 206 because I don't care if I lose the 206, and it might push them over.
Sure. Yeah.
And honestly,
I have to risk
I'd be willing to put the 103. Well, not both first.
Not all of it, but yeah.
I would be willing to do Fields in the 103 because Burrow's that guy.
Yes.
We'll pretend he was talking about me. Something I said for sure.
In a no tight end premium Superflex, would you sell Pitts for Fant plus a first and Gallup? Not enough.
Give me a better... Someone I have more faith in being a steady producer than Gallup, because there's so many question marks with the injury and free agency on Gallup. But if you give me... Who's a younger Keenan Allen? Like, because I'm like someone that I know will produce.
Just pulling young Keenan Allen from my...
Yeah. Like, can we go back in time 3 years and put Keenan Allen in there? Like, give me like a super steady wide receiver too. And
who's going to have 3 top 12 seasons over the next 3 seasons? Let me see if we know that exactly. Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. There you go. Those are the only ones we feel remotely comfortable about that, really. Or no, actually, Devontae Adams. He's an older kid.
I would love that.
Yeah,
for sure. I mean,
I don't think there is one. Don't have another one, but you need someone you have a lot more confidence in.
Elijah.
Higgins.
I mean, I would probably if you threw like Elijah Moore, Devonta Smith. If we're talking about youth and value, I think those guys would fit in there pretty well. But Gallup is too low.
Gallup's too low, definitely. I have the 102 and a 1 QB, but I want a 23 first. Good instinct. So what should I do? So what should that plus be? Thank you, Joe, because I'm not going to get it right either way.
Just stick with Joe. That's the good idea. What would I want to go to? Honestly, it should be another first, but I don't know if you're getting that. Like it should be like the 110 and a 23 first. I would give me a player I can start and be happy with, and the 23 first. Like again, go back to that same spot. Elijah Moore and a 23 first for the 102.
Oh, that'd be great.
QB, she said. So maybe that's not. Maybe that's too much.
And I might even do so. You said you would trade back to the 110 to get the 23 first. And I might even throw again, just be like, I'll give you the 102 and my third for the 110, and again, it just getting 2 picks seems like you're getting 2 picks. You're getting the 102. You're feeling good about it because this is a light class. And if you've been listening to us, we are in the camp of there are 2 really firm top 2 players. So there's a chance that gets done.
Yeah,
Peter's making faces at me. He doesn't buy it. He doesn't think that's going to
get face sack.
That's just what
that's what I would try, Joe.
I was thinking of getting Devontae Smith or Elijah Moore with a first to get that would be great.
If it was super flex, I'd feel better about that. I mean, I would love to try that. If you can get it, that's awesome in a 1 QB.
Russ said it, and now I'm fixated on it. That's what I want. It probably
happens with everything I say. That's very frustrating, Peter.
I trust you implicitly. I don't know what to tell you. Brandon Ayuk, is he lower valued than them?
Yes, he's lower valued than those guys at this point. If you believe in Ayuk, then sure. I wouldn't feel good about that though.
Okay. Superflex rebuild 107 Tua Derrick Henry for Kyler.
Yep. No, I want Kyler. I don't know what you're putting out there. Because I love you should get more for Kyler. If you can get Kyler for those, that's awesome. You should get a lot more for Kyler.
I don't know. I wouldn't mind having Derrick Henry. Well, the rebuild thing, sometimes that's a misnomer. Like people think they're in a rebuild more often than they are, or they're not. They're not honest with themselves about a rebuild.
What can you trade Henry for?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Probably. So we're getting 3 firsts and Tua for Kyler?
I don't think you're getting 2 firsts for Derrick Henry right now.
Okay. How about when the season starts? It's a running back, so there's a lot of risk in there. But I'm kind of really tempted by the Henry side. Henry's should be pretty significantly valued.
Perceived value of this class at the 107, the perceived value of Tua, and the perceived value of Derrick Henry finally getting hurt. I think Kyler is way too good and way too safe to trade for those 3 pieces. And
that is absolutely fair.
I love
the risk
I love
is
Derrick Henry.
It's so funny to me the difference in the way you approach things. Oh, and again, that's why I like to listen to you. It's why I like to listen to Bosch. Like you guys approach things so much differently than I do. Where sometimes I like to win, I think, and not just win the trade, but like win the actual like fantasy matchups.
Why?
Tua is a bigger risk than this. If you would put Kirk Cousins in there, that would be a win now trade. So to be fair, if you're rebuilding, it's probably a little off, and because that's where it would be a safer trade, and it's probably the wrong trade for an actual rebuild. Yeah, Kyler is the thing that you want if you're rebuilding there. Tanner Morris, I heard that Rondé Stevenson was a good cheap buy as the Patriots are known to use their running backs for 3 seasons. Damian Harris is on his 3rd season. I don't know if they recycle him, but I think Ramondre Stevenson is interesting just based on what he's done.
Yeah, that's more of it than I don't necessarily think that he will take over the backfield and be the lead back, but he is interesting enough as a receiver, as a change of pace back, change of pace, but he's a big back, and he's also a running back that could, in the event of an injury, or if Bill Belichick decides to banish Damian Harris to Siberia because he fumbles twice,
Stevenson or brags about it.
Yeah, Stevenson
misses his alarm clock.
Yeah,
that was one. Yeah, I think it's all about the value there, not so much a 3-year thing. What do I have to pay in my league?
No, I don't think so. I mean,
I've never heard that before, so I don't know if that was real.
No,
it's interesting idea. I don't think it's...
I think it was. They
is that just not repaying?
They traded Sony away. Like that was it.
I think it's probably a pattern being created by the length of typical running back contracts and what's happened over the last few years. I don't think
re-sign them.
Yeah.
That
14-team Superflex QBs, a tour and garbage. I like garbage. What are you talking about? QB1 next year. I have been able to move Najee for any decent. You don't have to move Najee. He's one of those running backs. You don't have to move him. He's just in that
RB3. But even that's weird that you can't move him for a good quarterback.
It is weird, actually. Take best QB or go best player. Best player available.
Best player available
in a rookie draft, man.
Draft for talent, trade for need.
Trying to trade Kelsey. What can I get for him? I don't know because I don't know your league. But seriously, probably less than I would think you should take.
That is the unfortunate answer. People are already out on Kelsey, and it's the weirdest thing in the world.
I'd want to first. I'm just rebuilding. I'm selling off anyone that's good, so I will trade Kelsey. I want to first. I don't know you get it. I really don't. Dynasty people, man, they're nuts.
Kelsey should still be the tight end one.
102 and 103 in Superflex Dynasty. Should I use the 102 on a player I really like and then use the 103 and trade back to someone who desperately wants a 103?
Yeah, why not? That's usually what I do. Like when I have a lot of picks, I'll usually draft half and trade half. And since you have to, that's exactly what that is.
Again, you're just always looking to push your value forward a little bit and also take some shots where you can. So if you can get that done, it's really tight. But yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and that's the right way to do it.
They're also offering me Waller and a first for the 206.
I don't remember what they're talking about. For Pitts?
Pitts for first and Gallup. Or Waller a third and the 206. I think Waller and the first is closer.
Waller and a first.
Yeah, 23 first.
Honestly, I still want Pitts, but yes, if you felt the need
that's
to move,
a lot better.
If for some reason you felt like you needed to move Pitts, which I don't understand the circumstances that you feel you need to, that would be an okay deal to do it for. But I would just hold Pitts and wait for something that's more solid.
Don't get trade happy. Like I want to do a trade. I'm gonna get probably get better.
There's different trades you can do for the sake of trading than trading away Pitts for.
And there's no pressure to trade Pitts right now. It's ain't going no. And just get a bunch in return for the 103, or just use both. If you can get a good trade the third.
Yeah.
If you can't, use the third.
Yes.
And a good deal would be a first next year plus something you like, a player you like, or a lower first round pick.
And this might change too with draft capital. And so if Hall and Spiller, or Walker and Spiller, or Walker and Hall, some combination of those running backs go in the second round to teams that don't have a clear starter, all of a sudden there are 3 players that are interesting.
Yeah, very much so.
But also that just makes that pick more valuable.
Yeah.
And you might be able to do better trade, or you just get 2 really good running backs.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right, fellas. I know I told you that there was no time I needed to leave by, but it's 12:30 and I need to go to bed.
You're good. See you later.
Bye, everybody.
It's I'm almost at that point too, Peter.
No problem.
Ooh, he's getting tired
We'll
of you.
I am wiped.
We'll wrap it up here as quick as we can. There's such a slim chance of getting a high-end talent with picks. Why are guys like Higgins, Deontay, DJ more available for 2 firsts? It's a good question. And it's why me and Zach are kind of on the same page with this one. We've talked about it a lot over the years and in podcasts. Like, we tend to side players because we want to win and we're a little more certain that these players are good. But with Dynasty, where you can't constantly redraft your roster, if your team's struggling a little bit, you're more willing to side on the side of value because you can trade those picks for more picks or younger players that you can trade for picks. So if your team isn't looking competitive, you can still be competitive in the future. Whereas if you just have these players and then they don't do well, their value drops further. So it's a difficult balance, and that's why we keep saying in your league, because in your league, that very much might not be the case, and that's why we use the average of ADP. Me personally, Higgins, Deontay, and DJ Moore, I want over 2 picks. I do, but that's where they're valued at on average if you're looking to make a trade. That's why we're describing it that way. And also, 2 picks doesn't mean just 2 picks. It's like saying $20. It's an amount in Dynasty you can kind of equate to different players.
And I think the other thing is a lot of people overestimate their ability to pick the right players. And I'm probably guilty of that as much as anybody, where you think everybody else is maybe a 30% chance of hitting on this 107, but I've got it locked, and I'm going to take JJ Arcega-Whiteside because Peter. Oh no, wait.
So Jackson, I think you're right. Those players are better than those 2 picks. But also where we don't have change because a second isn't worth half of a first, so we can't say like 2 firsts and a second. So it's not an exact quotient either. It's just kind of a rough idea.
And
It's
those
I know
those firsts aren't worth the same from class to class. So like a 22 first is not the same as a 2020 first. It's not the same as a 21 first. It won't be the same as a 23 first because the classes themselves have their own identity. They're unique. So it's interesting. Dynasty, that's part of what makes Dynasty fun.
Yeah, and again, in your league, that might not be true. So it's a difficult thing to talk about in the abstract, but we tend to use picks as just the default of currency. So make sure you always ask, to be fair, do you mean it exactly? And that's why we end up answering a lot of trade questions, because when you get down to a specific trade, that's where you get a lot more. It's easier to say yes or no instead of talking in this abstract sense. But good question, especially about Dynasty in general. 10-team Superflex half PPR. I have the 104 and the 105. Would you be willing to trade the 105 for a random 23 first? Like we were just talking about, Jackson, classes have different values. And right now, a first this year should be much more valuable than a first next year. But because we're higher on the 23 class already than this class, they're kind of trading at equal value. I would probably put that around the 106, 107.
Probably 107.
So the 4 and the 5 should be a little higher valued, I guess. But yeah, it's not too far off. What should I do with my wide receivers this offseason? Keep AJ Brown, keep Waddle, Elijah Moore, keep. Like, those guys are either well valued or undervalued, and they're all great. Mooney, I would speculate in trades with Mooney and A-Rob because I'm less certain of what they're going to do in the future. Brandon Cooks, you hold because no one's ever going to. He's just, you got to get points, and Brandon Cooks is probably going to do that. Same with Christian Kirk, but I would add him to a chaser. Russell Gage, I don't think anyone's interested. If you find someone interested, you can use him as a part of a combined trade deal, but you're just holding him, or he's actually a potential cut candidate for someone that's interesting that you find in a draft or on the waiver wire. I think that covers it. You guys just really trust Bateman in that offense. I think we talked a lot about Bateman overall. He was in that trade, but I think we took the other side, except for me. Lamar is addicted to throwing the dice down the field, down the center of the field to Andrews. I tend to think that's partly because of how good Andrews is, at least a lot more because of how good Andrews is than most do. I think Lamar can throw to where he wants, if you know what I mean.
I mean, he did carve out the third most targets on that team in just 12 games this year. I mean, not to be, and again, it's not that Bateman is necessarily going to be a wide receiver one next year or even the year after, but he's also not a bad player, and you've seen him do enough to be interested in Bateman.
Yeah, I'm really strong on Bateman as a prospect. I think he did well this year, not as well as obviously Chase. But outside of that, I think it's really positive so far. So yeah, I trust Bateman pretty much. And 12-team Superflex Hurts or the 1-on-1 Hurts for me.
Yep.
There's probably more risk in Hurts, but I'm pretty yeah, Hurts. I'm not going to go into it. No problem, buddy. So thanks for the advice. Just want to say I've had a few questions. We've had a few questions tonight that seem like people are interested or just getting started in Dynasty. And I'd like to point out it's not really even advice. We're just talking about Dynasty. I will own it, by the way. If you want to come back and tell me I was wrong, I won't be like, well, it was just advice. What I want to highlight here is no one knows all the answers. Lots of people will tell you they know all the answers. If you don't feel it, you should. It should be fun, and it's always more fun to make your own decisions. Happy to offer our opinion and own it later, but take it as just some other guy's 2 cents or some other girl's 2 cents. You should really get your own feel for it, and we really appreciate people asking questions. That's one of the things about Dynasty, where Jackson was just talking about quarterbacks. It's all kind of fuzzy, and we'll try and offer perspective and experience, but ultimately go with what you feel. Or what you think ultimately is the best decision, because there really is no one rule for any of this. Spot 109, the 202 for DJ Moore. 12-team Superflex standard. Yeah, DJ Moore. For me. Easily as well. Jackson P, thanks for the answer. I'm really struggling to give up Godwin. Yeah, I can imagine. The 201 and a 2022 and a 2023 first, but I feel like the picks offer so much flexibility. That's also part of their value. I might be able to get Godwin back for that. Yeah, and a 23 first later on, or when it gets closer to the season. As part of the value. And that also speaks to your league. Like in some of my leagues, trades just don't flow as easily because Dynasty Outhouse isn't in them. So I might be less prone to think like that because I can't make that trade as easy when we get to the point where I want Godwin back. So how your league or how often your league trade also factors into that. But generally, on the average, yeah, picks do offer that flexibility. I'm concerned with Godwin being a lower target share guy, successive years, great player, clearly one of the above average we should love in Dynasty, with an ACL tear entering into an age bracket, which we tend to start devaluing in Dynasty, not because they're not good, Keenan Allen being the example, this year, or Devontae Adams for that matter, but the value starts to trend down. I've already got us be a little bit concerned about his production soon because of his injury. There's a lot of reasons to not want to trade him at his current value, but I'm more prone to it just because of those risks. But, don't trade Godwin just to trade him for sure. He's an amazing player. Thoughts on Waddle? He's top 12 Dynasty wide receiver. Yeah. Or will be very soon. If he's not in whatever site you're looking at, he's going to get there. I'm pretty sure. Had an amazing rookie season. I mentioned Chase having a better season than Bateman. Waddle did too. NFL stats matter more. I've come all the way up on Waddle. This was a really impressive year. He should be
he's at wide
under
receiver
Chase,
8,
but very few of the wide receivers.
He's at wide receiver 8 on DLF, and that's pretty spot.
There you go. Also, thanks for the answer. No problem. We try to get through all of them. I know we're slow. It's one at a time. We like to talk, but we do try and keep it as short as we can. And we always try and talk to everything people ask. At least, even if we're wrong, we will try to offer perspective on anything people ask. 7% of my league is inactive. Yeah, but you know that. It's like Zach was saying about taking notes. You don't even have to take that note. You just know there's less chance of activity when you want to make a trade. Like I've been in leagues where I plan to make a trade on the clock, right? I've got a draft pick. I'm going to trade it when it's at its peak, when I'm on the clock, and then found no one even responding to messages. Wow, my timer ticked down. So, that's something I have to remember. It does factor in. 12-team 1 QB league. I have the 101, 105, 111. You have the draft. Got it. 201 and 203. Of those picks, what would you give up for ETN and Dobbins?
I'd be more inclined to go after Dobbins, and I'd probably throw 2 firsts at him. Throw the 105 and the 111 and see if that gets it done.
Anything outside of that 101 straight up would be good for me. I combine those in whatever mixture I needed to. I don't see Waddle repeating 140 targets. I don't know.
Yeah,
very far away from projections. He could easily do it, but he did well on those targets as well. That's the thing. He's shown an ability. He's created that role. He's earned that role for himself in his rookie year. That comps him to great players or good players going forward, So even if the targets come down, he's still able to perform on the targets he gets. The offense trusts him. He's jumped over already in the rookie season, which not everyone does, that question of whether he can transfer to the NFL. That's what Juju did, so it's not like some don't show a downtrend after that. But we don't have to ask that question of Waddle. We do of Bateman still. He did well, but did he? There were a lot more players that did what Bateman and Rondon Moore did, and then never really produced fantasy than there are what Jalen Waddle is. So it's not really about projecting the targets so much as comparing them to what other players have done and what they've gone on to do. And Waddle has a lot higher expectation based on that. Well, that's me. Zach has things he can say about how good he is on tape. I don't. Who's a wide receiver I could at the end of my roster? Nico Collins, Van Jefferson. Jefferson for me.
Push. I mean, Jefferson had a pretty good year this year. I mean, okay year.
He did.
I mean, whatever. Yeah,
he did. But if I have to make a decision, Collins is newer to the league, and Jefferson's good. He's good. But I think we're outside of that, expecting him to jump into the top 24. Easily could. He's a good player in the NFL, but you see what I mean.
Yep.
We haven't quite seen what Nico Collins could fully do, but I'm not overly hopeful on either. Non-superflex PPR. Team A, St. Brown and the 104 for Smith, Stevenson and the 108. So St. Brown and the 104 for Devontae Smith and the 108 and Stevenson as a chaser. I'd take Devontae Smith in that situation.
Yeah.
If that's who we're talking about. People forget Waddle's a big playability. Yeah, and we could again, Zach could talk a lot about what he's capable on the field of, that he can play different roles, and I'm going to let him say things in a second. How about that? But from my perspective, just where I don't know, I'm not a coach. I definitely don't see things anyone else doesn't. I just know how to compare him to past players, and he puts him in a really positive range. And Zach, talk about how great he is.
No, that was the fun thing about Waddle, is you were worried he was going to get pigeonholed into that Henry Ruggs, field stretcher role, because he was very fast and could play that role and did some at Alabama. When he came into the league and was drafted by Miami, you're looking at what Tua needed. Tua needed somebody to get open quickly and close to the line of scrimmage. And so Waddle was thrust into that role and did it very well this year. But there is that room to grow. Like, Waddle can be a down the field wide receiver as well as what we've seen as a target hog. And so it's to me, it's a lot harder to go from being that long A-dot guy and shifting in closer to the line of scrimmage than it is to have both of those start out close to the line of scrimmage and have a team say, yeah, we can do that. Now let's grow you. And so I really like what Waddle did. I like the situation he landed in, and I like the idea that there is a potential for him to grow in terms of his depth of target. So there's still meat on the bone. I mean, yeah, you saw 140 targets, but they were all within 7 yards of the line of scrimmage. There's room for him to grow.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's one thing that I sometimes occasionally forget to mention. Like, even players I don't like, if they get into the NFL undrafted, they're already in a tier of football ability that the majority of people who try and play football never reach. They're all pretty filtered to amazing players. And after that, I'm just searching for the ones that compare most to that produce fantasy relevance, which isn't always their skill set or how great they are at specific things. So yeah, I miss a lot of stuff like that. And I'm happy to be honest with you, because it sounds complicated. Tanner Morris, would Kelsey for Mitchell and the 103 be good value? Yes. For Kelsey, that's good value right now. I think he's undervalued over that. I would prefer a 23 first if I'm looking for value, just because you've got a longer life on that value. And already 22 and 23 first are fairly equal valued. And Joannes gave us a little pinky.
No.
Sorry, Joe. I'm gonna have to. I like saying
Joanna C or Joe or Joanne.
Will do better.
Yeah, I got it written down on my Kevin Harris profile how to pronounce, so I'm not messing that up anymore.
Appreciate that. I am gonna have to let Zach get out of here because he's
that time
grown-ass adult with responsibilities. Thanks everyone for joining in, asking questions, and talking with us some Dynasty in the off-season. Hope you enjoy the rest of the playoffs. Hope to see you next week at 9:30 every week. I guess we're just going to keep it rolling. We do this, so check us out if you'd like to, I guess, which you already did. I don't have a good outro anymore.
Look over there.
Intro. Yeah, it's just that. I'm not even prepared for that, Zach. So we got nothing. As in terms of professionalism or intros or outros, we just enjoy talking about Dynasty football a lot, and we really appreciate you coming along to do that. So, hey, what's that thing?